Chasin the Racin, powered by Colchester Kawasaki. Part of the Global Moto Group, we supply new Aprilia, Moto Guzzi, Vespa, Royal Enfield, Kawasaki, Sim, Mutt and Benelli motorcycles.
3, 2, 1, and welcome back to Chasin the Racin.
First of all, it's got very, very serious in here. I think we've just been like a bunch of desperate housewives for the last half an hour. We're nearly an hour. We were supposed to be here at 7:30, and we've just had the most beautiful, replicable. Is that even a word?
Replicable.
Thank you very much. That man in the corner. So I feel like we figured out, well, I say we, Grace figured out it's been 4 months, lads, since a catch-up. That's terrible. That is absolutely terrible. So I feel like I should reintroduce everyone on this side of things. We've got Joe Akroyd, who's sitting very up straight. That's from the back injuries. We've got Josh Corner opposite, who broke a set of headphones. That's why if you're watching this on YouTube, he's the only one sitting without them, and we can tap away. And we have the delicious Christian Iddon. I'm only saying that because he's opposite and he can kick me.
He's gone from being fast to fast and delicious. How does that work?
No, you dress fast.
Well, I wasn't going to say it, but...
Oh, get the clothes out. I love it. So like I say, you can't replicate true class. And I think we should put this out to the crowd immediately. We have a guest tonight who is essentially a hostage. Joe, would you like to, literally going into the peripheral there, would you like to introduce your guest? Your guest, your hostage?
I ain't got any mates, so I just tie him up and make him come with me.
Fantastic. So
got me mate Will. My mate, best mate Will, who's come with us. Cause
is he actually your best mate, or you're just saying that because he's sat in the corner?
Yeah, I say he's sat there. Is he looking at me?
He's laughing.
Absolutely. Lads, I don't even know where to begin with this because 4 months. So much has happened. You know, we've had Laverty on, we've had Alan Garner, and you've been busy going off to Paul Ricard. And I'm trying. Who was your last guest before that? John Hopkins.
Yeah, we did.
So it's mad because you almost. What's brilliant? I'm going to blow smoke up your arse. It's you just get so involved in their story, don't you? You know, you interview them, you do an awesome job. I can't believe I've said that. I feel like I'm going to have to brush my teeth after that, giving you all compliments, but. It's been absolutely awesome, but we've just totally not forgot, but we haven't had time to fully delve into what's been happening.
Before we do any of that, I need to ask about the Tash.
Oh,
it's the first time I've seen the Tash.
That's real.
I mean,
we both had the same reaction.
It's taken me about 5 minutes.
I don't think we can carry on without talking about the Tash. I thought I recognised you. I've seen enough videos of people that look like you right now. I was like...
on North East News, hanging around there, playgrounds and that.
Yeah.
Mate, you ever heard of a lammin tash?
A what?
A lammin tash, lammin season, right? All the culture.
He's got a bit of Freddie Mercury look about him, hasn't he?
I thought you glazed over your eyes there. Josh, I know you're the good looking one. It is, isn't it? It's a real tight jeans.
But when I turned up, I was like... whoa, that's not... You got that stuck on. I honestly didn't think it was real. And then Joe turned up 2 minutes later, he was like... That's not real. You got that stuff on.
He's literally staring. Not even I'm my eyes are up here, Christian. You know what I mean? It's
I'm quite impressed with it. I can't grow body hair, facial hair. Just don't grow hair.
Have you ever seen any fur on his face? Full stop. He couldn't grow a beard. I was like, where's that come from?
This thing is symbolic. This is dedication.
Mate, did you go to Turkey for a hair transplant? They went right.
I mean, they've lived it in the wrong place. They've taken it off my arse and just bunged it straight on my lips. I'm telling you.
Well, he has got most of his arse in his face anyway, so it wouldn't.
That's me foreskin. That, but it was the best thing is it's not even mine. The sample was too small, and I've always going to be cockeyed forever. So it's going to have to be someone else's on that side of things. So there's been a sample going around the place.
But fair play though, because it is impressive, Tash.
Thank you very much. I tell you what.
So what's it for? Surely it's for something.
Well, no. Basically, we made drumstick.
It must be charity. It has to be charity.
Well, funny enough, it's a bit of a long-winded story. So we made drumstick in Northern Ireland. He was good mates, really good mates with Chrissy. So we made drumstick. Said, "Can you go attach?" And I've never actually properly tried. So ever since then, even at the Manx, been trying to put this on and everything like that, and just chipping away at it. Now I've been laid up since me little debacle at the Manx Grand Prix there. Just been with me foot up and trimming around the edges as such.
Hold on.
You literally cannot take his eyes off.
As a project, you've grown a Tash.
I can't fix me bike. I can't stand. It's been
that is the laziest project I've ever heard in my life.
Watching it in a mirror.
It's great, isn't it?
I think he's just Bronson's his role model. I think.
Sit down here. We can't say that word on here.
I love it.
Absolutely love it. But you're a fan of it though. Yes or no?
Well, it's just still cool, actually.
I
but
like it.
It just was a shock because all of a
He
sudden
literally can't take his eyes off.
I don't know. I just don't know what to say. I'm a bit
just
lost for
appeared,
words about it.
You've grown it really fast. It's
My
got some length on it.
mate, Drumstick, listen to this. You're welcome. You know what I mean? I'm showing him that I can get this done.
And how much growth is that? How long did that take?
When was the Manx? That was 5 weeks ago. It's probably 7 weeks ago for this.
That's impressive.
That is well
Look at the
impressive.
length on that. Can I touch it?
Of course you can.
Look at the length.
look
If
real.
Grace edits that bit there, look at the length of that. Can I touch it?
Can you put that on loop? So you listen like that. Just put that on the socials. Look at the length on that. Joe Akroyd quoted here.
What's the missus make of it? If I did that,
She
Zoe
hates it.
kick
She
me out
hates
the
it,
door.
but I think that's why I'm dedicated to it even more. She
I don't
hates
think
it.
she will. I think she secretly likes it.
No. But God love her, she lost her dad like 4 years ago, and her dad actually suited a moustache, but it was like a proper like. Her dad wouldn't have been a dad without the tash, and it's just like I hate that, so I'm going out the edges, waxing. Hayden Gibson, right? All the greats have tash. Her dad, Hitler, and Hayden Gibson. Everyone has.
Honestly,
tip in on that one.
honestly, we could have put a chart on here to say. I wonder how long it is before he mentions the war.
Yeah.
Like,
But Faulty Towers crack.
but Hitler wasn't the thing I was going for.
So yeah, well basically, I've signed up to a charity boxing match. So you know the Victorian back.
So it is Bronson then.
Speaking of Bronson, bloody hell, son! Can you get out of Chrissy's studio, please? Jesus.
So who are you boxing?
I don't probably doesn't know my look. Some jippo.
It's one of them like proper dodgy white collar.
No, it's not
charity
dodgy.
ones, isn't it?
Well, basically, right. It's class because you
Do you need a medical to do it?
don't know.
No.
So I'm going for a sign up.
Oh, well,
Like so, I've got to sign on and everything like that. So when we interviewed Alan Garner, I tell you what, like there's a shout out, straight out with a shout out. Tony Rolls, who's one of our patrons, not a girl. You know how you had a go at Jess. Can you explain briefly how that went?
Finish one story before you start the next one.
No,
Finish the Alan Garner
shout out. Who are
story.
you gonna
shout out. Sorry, wait, Tony Rolls. So Tony Rolls. I haven't even asked his permission for a shout out, but because of the Alan Garner episode of like going out and get tested, he had a very, very near miss, very nice,
really?
and because he went there on top of it, like it's not even going to be a problem in the future because he got tested.
Oh, unreal! That's good news.
Power of the pod, you know what I mean? So you will get fingered.
On that note, actually,
pretty
lots of people from the Patreon, lots of patrons, people who listen to the pod, donated to my cycling thing for that as well. So thanks for everybody.
Have you done that yet? Then?
Yeah, but I didn't do the 1,000 mile. I
So
did more than
you've
what I
robbed
was.
people.
No, I did more than what I was signed up to do, which I was only signed up to do 300, but I was trying to do 1,000, but I only managed 520. So
Bloody good going.
it's not bad, but
How patronising is that from Christian? Isn't it? He's like,
No,
I do
you know
that in the
what, no,
morning.
I was gonna say,
he
does it?
drags me around. He drags me around on a Sunday.
We're in a cycling group
Steady
chat,
on.
and I ripped the arse end out of him because he didn't do what he was supposed to do. I was like, I just gave it him. I was like,
He did.
Yeah, well
Big
done for
time,
not
yeah.
achieving.
But
Congratulations on failing, John.
I was like, I hope you're giving half the money back.
it was yeah, but no, I didn't.
Did you do him a certificate for taking part?
Most improved. What other things can you think of?
They won't actually let you sign up for more than 300. They wouldn't let you sign up for more
His
than
head's all
300.
off now.
Aye, bastard. Just a bastard. Only he's like, I do 500 miles. He goes out cycling before he meets us. So we'll do like 60 miles or something, and I'm dying. Like, get me to the pub for a pint to recover, to work my lungs out a bit, and a cigarette. And he's like, does 60 miles before he meets us, then does 60 miles. Then he goes, anyone riding the long way home? I'm like, fuck off. So piss
Hence
off.
why I did half a challenge.
I did do half the challenge. I overachieved the challenge by 120 miles. I underachieved the personal challenge. But anyway.
But you raised money for a good cause.
Yeah,
so
a good. We didn't raise the whole £1,000, but it was still £700 or something. It was very good. So thanks to everyone that donated.
I tell you what, let's pretend Christian's not here. What used to really wank, like you were like always, this was all how it started, you know, it was always that joke of like stand-in hosts, you know, you came on the show a lot and everything, and we actually had you on the show prior, but you used to come on with me and Chrissy and it used to piss you off a little bit. Like you used to go, we always talk about fitness and I'm going to do that again.
You're doing it
You know what I
again.
mean? And we're doing it again. What would you, like pretend he's not here, what would you consider a challenge for Christian Iddon?
Swimming the
You're
channel.
not here.
Swim the channel.
well, would,
To be fair, I can't really swim.
Yeah,
that's a
metal
fucking challenge, then.
I can't really
But
swim.
when
yeah, you're going swimming.
my boss seen me out cycling with him and rang me and was like, "Are you
all
like,
right?
are you mental?
Are you okay,
I was like,
hon?
why? He's like, I follow Christian on Strava and he's like borderline a professional cyclist. And he's like, you've just started. What are you doing? Like, have you got a death wish or something? So
I only
don't know what a challenge would be for him.
I'm not very sociable, so I like do this like Sunday thing to try and be sociable. Where I have to like.
Well, where you ride and don't talk to me.
He actually waited for us last week. He
He
dropped back for us because I was hanging, and I just like was set off right.
But it ruins me, so that's why I have to go out before and then afterwards because it just the bit in the middle where I'm with other people just completely ruins me.
Is it like a bit of meditation for you?
It's a bit of like no, it's me trying to be a better person. I'm like have to go out with my special friends.
Have you not heard Nick?
No, like when you go out on your own. When you go out on your own, is it like just? I'm on my own now.
Oh, you just there on your own.
It's a competitive thing, though, isn't it? For you, like you want to push yourself, you want to go out and feel like you've done the job, and then when you ride, it is difficult because when you aren't as good as well, you feel guilty. So I'll say like, don't wait for us if I get dropped. Like just go, but then. The first bit of the ride that Christian organises, he'll say that no, like it's a group ride, we'll all go at a similar sort of pace, but we're set off at the front with it. I set off at the front, and like all these, there's like etiquette as well when you're in a group. But fuck, I don't know what any of that is, right? So we set off at the front, and like 6 miles in, chatting away, I'm like, fuck, I feel mint. All this cycling I've been doing the last couple of months, great. Mile 7.1. Like a fucking anchor just went on the floor and I was gone. Just fucked off, yeah.
I've just got this mint image of all you lads in a car park, like, say, are you ready for this? You're getting really like pumped up, psyched up for like a world title fight. And he's going out, I've got to make friends.
Yeah.
That is literally it. Like,
on his phone to his missus, I don't want to go. I don't like him. I want to go on my own. Nick, please, don't make me do. How long? You won't let me touch it. Okay, I'll go.
Honestly, as much as you're joking about
that is literally how it is.
Anal. No one will get that. Sorry, that was one of those insight there. Yeah. Inside, you can't. Well,
that is quite accurate, but it is very good. But yeah, impressive. I'm not sure what a challenge would be for you. Maybe
you can't swim. Why can't you swim?
Well, no, I can swim, but like I wouldn't do a triathlon because.
Well, that's a challenge, then, isn't it?
Yeah, we need. To
no, because it's not that I can't swim. It's just that I swim proper slow. I'd have to do breaststroke in a triathlon. I think that's frowned upon.
You can do it.
Run around.
Yeah, my mate just did that. They did the Geordie man thing, and that was really good. But I wouldn't have done the swim. Like I would have drowned. Like I swim like a brick, basically. Yeah, brick. Yeah, not very good.
Like a shit after a curry. That's how I swim. Sink to the bottom.
Yeah. I was going to say spread out across the top.
Mate, I'm sitting.
We all have different bowels here, don't we?
Won't flush them at picture.
Should we talk about some motorbikes at some point?
Yeah,
no. I keep rolling with the putt. Like, yeah. So yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, I'm doing for prostate cancer as well. You know, and actually, I was on the way home and I thought I'm going to
do a challenge you can finish.
Well. Get kicked in. I thought, who's I know, yeah, that like that. No, but you're right. Like, no, I thought, who's going to put a lot of money up? Me cycling, not a chance. Me doing anything else. I think people, especially who listen to this podcast, will pay a lot of money for me to get my head kicked in towards charity. Think about it.
Fair play to you,
Christian. You know what I mean?
One of us should be the opponent. Wonder if we could organise that.
Mate, I'm not being funny. Will's just met me, and he's putting 50 quid out of his pocket. He works for Joe. He's got loads of money.
Well done, Will.
You know what I mean? Just send in the invoice. You know, loads of money, chucking it about. Well, people would so I need to get that up online. But the thing is, I need to.
When is it?
It is the weekend after the Macau in the middle of Newcastle.
Are you going to train for it?
Yeah, so you have to do an 8-week training program. So I need to go have a chat with him, like when I can actually start and everything like that. So my first training.
Oh, so it's probably you will have to do medical in that, right? I would say.
Yeah. Well, no, it's like headgear, you know, but it's like it's 3 rounds. It's got to be some crack. So me and Grace have been talking about trying to set up like a night, you know, like so it's on a Saturday night. So during the day, everyone comes up, meets us, you know what I mean, and everything like that.
Cool,
and
yeah.
So quick plug for Grace. Grace has been working her heart off on Chasin the Shine.
Good shit, that. Have you used it?
Good shit. That is our title.
It is actually very good.
Our working title is It Actually Works.
Yeah.
That's how we're set.
I was dead impressed.
Good shit, that.
Good shit, that. Yeah.
That could be the
shit.
other one.
Yeah, gold.
Absolutely.
I was dead impressed with that.
It is good. But I tell you, like, Josh, you've come up with a very valid point. You know, I think we should talk about motorcycles. And it's a bit like, where do we even begin? 4 months to the side. I think we didn't even touch on the fact of...
Have a swig of it.
Have a smell of it.
It does smell nice.
Oh my God, I thought he was committing there.
You were, weren't you?
I didn't even check.
So for the audio listeners, he's trying to spray it in his mouth, for God's sake. So
that's where he usually sprays it. Anal.
Oh my God. So
gonna
have we
just make no sense anyway.
actually talked about Taron McKenzie winning a 600 race?
Negatory.
No.
We haven't. It hasn't
Let's
happened,
start
has it?
there because that
You know
was
what I
pretty
mean?
impressive.
I'm not being funny. Normally you write notes and you think 4 months of notes, I don't even know where to begin. You know, we've had...
There's almost too much.
There is, isn't
Yeah.
there? That's the
Isn't there?
upsetting
Yeah.
thing is. And
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
bit like we're going to have to like pick a highlight, but then we're almost going to
But if you
overlap our
start, to be
highlights.
fair, World Superbikes actually is a shit ton to talk about, regardless of results. Like, we start with Taz, but there's a lot happened, even just like very recently, which has kind of shaped a lot of the last 4
So
months.
let's start
anyway,
with
so
Taz.
I was going to say...
What sort of long odds would you got on that?
None.
serious.
Back to the gambling, love it.
Yeah.
Well, no, but Taron is on like the worst bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a disaster, that bike.
Yeah.
Are they bringing out a new Honda? That is the
No.
fresh off the rumour mill.
I don't think any bikes are coming out new for anything, are they?
No.
There's no
They'll
such
do
thing.
it. Dates, won't
I
they?
heard Kawasaki's.
I heard,
Not the big bike.
I've
I heard 636 are bringing out a new one of that, but this is silly season's coming in a full swing here.
The only thing I've heard about the Honda is that there might be some sort of like a big bore kit for it. So whether it's big,
So they've legalised what they're doing.
Just
Yeah, they're going to put the blade engine in it to make it competitive.
Yeah, like overbore it essentially, so it'd be like a 650, or bigger throttle bodies or something like that. But in all
Right.
seriousness, I have heard that that's a thing.
But Taron's like, it's such a shame because I know we spoke about it previously about I wish he'd got a better seat, and it's almost. I know he won one, but it's played out almost worse than what I thought he was going to do for him. I really feel for him because it must be so difficult.
I actually take my hat off to him in a big way because I thought, and still do to be fair, that it was a smart move because. Also, let's be honest. There's people in that Supersport paddock that are taking in the region of 450 to €500,000 worth of budget with them to ride for some of them teams, and I'm not talking people at the back, people at the front, because they see it as a like an investment to go into Superbike. So really, if Taz has the opportunity to go Superbike with Honda thereafter, I don't really know, but it certainly looks that way, doesn't it? Then it's played out for him. But Jesus Christ, he's had to deal with some shit along the way, hasn't he? And actually having that win, I just felt made up for him because I thought, you know what it is, you've had to put up with some shit.
How good's he managed it as well, though? Because he could have pissed him around and he'd have been within his rights. And everybody knows what a heap he's on.
Being very humble,
And he's kept
dealt with
saying,
it.
tough weekend, but we'll be back at it. And, there's a lot to be said for that because inside his head must just be...
He's got a good tutor, hasn't he? He's come from a good racing family. Do you know,
Good
like
stock, as you would
got
call it,
decent
wouldn't you?
folk around him as well, hasn't he? But it's still... you can have the best people around you if he's competitive. He wants to win, doesn't he? He wants to be up the point in the end. He knows he's capable of doing it, and he hasn't got the tools to do it.
I mean, for that win, like everything to fall into place in the way that did.
Yeah.
But he still had to go and win. It wasn't a given. Everyone had the same conditions.
Yeah.
So it's not like
But
it's not a real win. It is. Everything is a real win. If you win, it's a win. And flipping it, that is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the kick that must have given to Honda and everyone, like literally what that would have done for his career.
And
then pretty much straight away he was then straight off to Suzuka, which he probably wouldn't have got the call up for if he hadn't done that one. That was a bit of a thank you for that one. And
Right.
And if you do well at Suzuka, which he did, he was really good at Suzuka.
He's really quick,
Then they love it.
Do you know? Do you follow MotoGP memes? Oh my God, they're brilliant.
I'm not sure.
It's like, find it on Instagram. It's class, man. It's like they've got a photo of Marquez and like Taron McKenzie wins on a Honda this year, and it's like, oh mate, it just
I did see that.
mate,
Actually,
honestly, it was just a go follow bad MotoGP memes or something like that. Find it. Honestly, the stuff, they are ruthless. It's just so funny. So funny.
So that was a big moment in the season, really, in World Superbike. And then we've all kind of been waiting for a while to see what Johnny Ray is going to do, which he's now decided, and he's going to Yamaha, which is a big move.
Has he had to buy himself out of that Kawasaki contract? Has it? Like, is that because it was a 2-year deal?
He had a deal for next year. I don't know. I heard someone say like they would anticipate that Kawasaki would let him off, but I don't believe that.
I don't. Contract.
Like, as in to say, they've won 6 titles together.
Let him go.
Let him go as a bit of a thank you or whatever. But I just don't get that. Because otherwise, there'd be no point in.
They'll be pissed off, won't they? Like if they've lost their best they've lost the best opportunity. Like.
Do you know the history of Kawasaki? I've only just found out that they're just a massive engineering firm. Motorcycles is just so tiny. They build like super trains and boats and like bridge. Like
a lot of the manufacturers are like that.
No, but it shocks me when you have that element. You think, why aren't they not? When you think the hard brass, it's run by accountancy firms, isn't it? And you think, how old's that ZX10 now? because they got rid of the Zuki package, didn't they? Where Zuki motorcycle program's been collapsing over, hasn't it? But then you think Kawasaki, you think,
Yeah,
they dropped out of MotoGP years ago, didn't they? And then they focus on Worlds, and then it's just been...
People say that though. But, like, what's your view? Like, this is a really good topic. So, people aren't building 1 litre sports bikes.
I was just about to say there's no new bikes.
Yeah.
What's the last new bike there was?
The Honda.
Ducati. Oh yeah, Honda.
Yeah.
I just wanted one more answer there, just to like oh shit.
Oh, you're right.
Well, no, they're not.
No, but you're right though. You're right. You're 100% right.
Yeah, but that Honda wasn't last year. It was 2 years, whatever. Like,
But that was 2020.
In the V4R. That's the newest one to come out into from Ducati.
Yeah,
Ducati's
but when was it like the newest?
Panigale out.
yeah.
As in,
chassis.
when did it become it? Yeah.
And this is the thing, they keep bringing like
It's the
updates
same
out, don't they?
Well,
It's the same bike.
Now everything's just the same bike, and it's
Yeah.
the last new bikes is it was the Blade.
Well, like,
No, but it'll be like you're saying about the upgrade element with the Gen 5 BMs, and then next year it'll be a...
I have my collar felt about the Kawasaki, because I'd said it like pretty much hasn't been updated from 13, and I know it had a facelift, but actually when you speak to the engineers and the mechanics and the riders who've been around them for a long time, even when the actual bike is, you know, the new model that you see now, where the front end changed, actually nothing really changed from
Yeah,
its standpoint
well,
or
you say
inside.
that though.
That's
In 15 though, that bike was massively different and it was worse. So the bikes, the ZX10 that came out, when did Danny Buchan ride them? When stock 1000 they were like mint. They went from the old looking ZX10, which looked like this 600, and then they came with that little seat on it.
Yeah.
That one came out, what was that, 2011?
Yeah, or 13? Or is it late? No, you're right, yeah, it was 11.
11 or 12, whatever. That bike came out, and it was mint, and then everyone had them in stock 1000, and I only know this because I rode one when they first came out in 2016. The new bike came out because the BM was like stepping up, and it had different electronics on it, different head angle and all, and it was totally different. They struggled like mad for ages with it, and it took a long time to get going. And to be fair, it's never really had a lot of success in a stock class. It's never had a lot of success since, has it? But World Superbike's different. Superbikes are different because they've massively changed them. But
just to clarify my point before I get fucking dragged across the coals again, I know that the bike that the latest model has had a new frame and a new swing arm and a new engine and all that. But the point is they're
It's a
not
bit of
moving.
Triggs brush type thing, though, isn't it?
It's not moving the goalposts, is it? Like sort of Honda have done with
that
the Fireblade
the latest
now.
Blade was like a new thing.
And that's what I meant by the Kawasaki.
Yeah.
It hasn't really changed.
Same with the BMW. Like, yeah, that's new and it's lighter and all. It's different. But the point is, it's not
that new BMW that's not new, but that latest generation of BMW. I tested the pre-production one, which must have been back in. Fuck knows. It was so it was 3 or 4 years before it actually came out. So that's how old these things are before you even get going.
It's a 4-year development process, and that's what it is. So by the time
it actually hits the shelf, it's almost
4 years.
There's a new one being ready, but there are no new ones being ready.
No, because they don't sell.
Litre bikes now. It's not.
Well, it's because people aren't buying them. That's the point.
Exactly.
Would you want to ride your race bike as a road bike on the road?
Would I shite?
Nah, not a chance.
I nearly
It
said
would
something
be
that I
no,
can't
it'd be
really
the
repeat,
most.
but yeah.
Go on.
No, all the things I'd rather do than ride it. I don't get why someone will walk into a dealership and buy an R1.
Well, do you know what? Even
why
But it's like buying a Lamborghini for the road.
It's not even
I
that.
think it's
A
not.
Lamborghini's got heated seats and stuff like that, and a radio.
I'd buy an adventure bike. Martin's been having this crack with me. He's like, what bike? He's on about buying a chopper. I told him he's not. I don't think he's that old yet.
No, you was about to say no. You were literally about to say not allowed to, and mate, I completely agree with that, and I think as a group collective, we won't allow them to do it.
But like adventure bikes make sense.
Well, we did. I did a test for a magazine. I did a test for a magazine with a V4. I don't know if it was the S or the R. I think it was the S. So it's the 1100 or whatever it is, and the Street Fighter. So the same bike essentially, but one's sit up and beg and one's proper. And a million times over, I would have gone for the
super naked.
Yeah,
super naked.
And I was only like 3 seconds a lap off around the track, so you could still go out and win the inters if you really wanted to.
Win the inters.
I'll tell you what I've done since.
No, but couldn't you? Like it's the same bike, and it was so much nicer. It was comfy. It was just like, and I could totally go to the shops afterwards. After winning inters.
My first journalist bit for Fast Bikes magazine.
Oh yeah, so that was the magazine.
Was it? We can mention who it is. And I went.
I wasn't being special about it. I was just,
No, but it was.
get your copy now.
Homologation special, which was.
That's the catchphrase.
That's getting.
I just came up with it.
Grace is going to chop that out.
Where
were you,
I
son?
know.
Where were you?
So you didn't do the because they're doing a super naked test now, aren't they? You did.
They've gone and done that.
Yeah,
Ooh.
in Nürburgring.
The Nürburgring.
You were-
but
yeah.
I did the
Isle of Man one.
homologation one on the Isle of Man, which was
Yeah.
the Fireblade, the V4R, and the M1000RR.
Oh yeah, I looked at the pictures of that.
Yeah, and it was like
Just didn't read the articles.
we just need to look at the pictures.
There's Joe.
I've not learnt to read yet.
Yeah, but none of us can read.
We're not doing an audio book yet either.
Chrissy was the intelligent one. None of us.
I don't even know where to go with this because this is two exciting stories. Because you started a new job, we'll go down. But let's talk a bit more about Joe.
I'll go down that road.
No, I want to go down. Like, you in the Isle of Man. Was that scratching an itch for you?
A little bit, yeah. It was a little bit. To be honest with you,
I'll ask you that actually. Yeah.
So
that's a
I was-
pretty good question.
I got a call
Sorry,
on
first
Monday from Bruce at Fast Bikes saying, "Can you get to Liverpool tomorrow night to come over to the Isle of Man?" I was like, "Fuck it, I don't, I get away with a bit. I don't know that I can maybe pull that one off." So I went home and I just said to Zoe, I said, "Look, I don't have an argument with you, but this opportunity's come up. So if you roll your eyes and huff at me, then I'll just tell them no." And anyway, she said, "No, you need to go do it." So,
Shout out Zoe.
but I didn't know what the bikes were. I hadn't listened to him when he rang because I was busy. And then when I got to Liverpool, he opened the back doors. I was like, "Oh my God, this would be quite good, this."
Yeah.
And
So list the bikes. So it was like.
So it was the V4R, which is 40 grand. Fucking not many folk are buying them, are they? And then
Where?
the M1000RR, which is that carbon BMW with the big wings and
Yeah.
which is just a work of art to look at, and then the Fireblade. And we just went and had a rip round.
Did they shut the road for you?
No.
It looked like, when you saw like the bits on Instagram and stuff like
No,
that.
we were really lucky because they were doing hedge and grass cutting on the mountain, so they were shutting it so they could get the tractor up to do all of that. And
Please
I went
tell
and had a
me
bit
you
of a
walked
chat
up
and I
that.
said, "Can we be
It's
the
Joe
last ones over
Akroyd,
the mountain?"
TT rider. Is there any chance me and journalist, all round nice guy?
Retard. And
Any chance we're gonna have a spin on the mountain?
well, they just
I
said,
can't take him
if
seriously
you-
with that voice and the
can't.
tash.
Cheers, mate. That's why I grew it. It's about time. Look, I can't get my own respect, so I thought, I'm going to grow it.
I don't know how that's working out for you. To be
It's not
fair.
working well at all, mate. You know what I mean? I think the police could be around any
It's
minute.
just the accent when he was doing the thing there. Sorry.
So how dickhead?
I don't know where we were. Oh yeah, so the lad said, "Look, come back. We're shutting the roads tomorrow at 6:30. If you wait, you can be the last ones over, and you might get a bit of clear traffic." And we did. We got a bit.
Nothing
clear.
coming the other way.
So
Well, there was, but there was a crossover point. Like when we got to kind of the bungalow, the last car had gone through.
Yeah, but did you want to risk?
No, well, we didn't, because for any of the footage, you need to stay on your side of the road anyway. Because apparently, if you put the footage on YouTube, there's some algorithm that picks up you riding on the other side, so it takes.
Oh,
it
they can
down.
time that. Oh, it's
Yeah,
bollocks.
so-
They can time you from like one bit to another and go, yeah, you were speeding.
So he just said for any of the footage,
You can't speed.
I mean, you weren't speeding. Your speedo was wrong.
You can over there.
you can go. It's
No,
dangerous
you
riding.
can't speed, can you?
No, in the Isle of Man you can.
You can't.
No,
Not on the mountain, can you?
No, you
Oh,
can
that's
do
what he
you
means.
want.
Yeah,
No,
That's what I mean. No, you
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
speed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fair enough.
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
we're
but
on
the
the
internet
same
don't know
page,
that.
but they.
YouTube's little the algorithm doesn't know that, and it'll just apparently it can take it down. I don't know if that's a lot of all conspiracy shit, but that's what they said.
Do
So
you know
he
what?
said, can you just
I don't
ride
think it's
on?
conspiracy shit because something got took down. Chrissy rang me once and that I'd said something on this very pod and it got took down off YouTube
without anyone doing it.
without anyone doing it.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Amazing.
It does happen.
they're watching us.
And it was quite scary when he
just watching,
when he
they're
told
bloody
me.
listening.
In fact, he sent me a voice note and he was like, "Yeah, I've just been like listening back because he obviously must have done." And then he said I was then watching it back, and then there was a break in, not a break, but he said he was sure there was something missing, so he went back and listened to it on his own recording.
What? And it had taken us like
And
a
it took a
section
slice out.
Wow.
What, out with the video?
Wow.
Oh, bloody
So this
hell.
might not even be available to the public. This might be a
This might
paradox
get
we're
taken
in.
out
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
So be careful what you say.
because the internet's
Do you know what's quite amazing? No,
We are not careful what we see on
this
Chasin the
this
Racin.
is totally a different topic, but like it did make me question
Life.
what's real and what's not, and how much you're getting controlled. Because I didn't think it was a thing. You know, all like propaganda. But I know you get like shown different sides of a story and this, that, and the other. I do understand propaganda, but not to the point that something would get taken out of a podcast that we've got loads and loads of followers. But still, as media streams go, it's quite a small
Yeah, small
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Niche.
So for part of it to have been removed
Wow.
blew my mind.
Can you remember what you talked about?
COVID.
That's
That's fucked it. That's that bit cut out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing.
That's mad that it does. I didn't think it would. That's actually worrying. Anyway,
You have no idea how
Anyway, I
proud
went off topic, but
No,
sorry.
you have
it was
no
it was
idea.
just amazing because I just thought, what the actual like.
You have no idea how
mental.
proud Chrissy would be. Same with Lundy, Kev Pinder. I call them the Tin Hat Brigade. They love the crack, man. You know, if you want to get in touch with, they listen to every single show and they'll be pissing themselves listening to that. So anyway, now that this has been deleted, we'll talk about anything else.
They can't listen to that bit.
No, they can't. No, it's not happened. Anal.
So, do you want me feedback on the 3 bikes?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, go for it.
So,
Do you want me free back?
Fireblade was...
Now that you're a journalist, of course I do.
Well, that's the thing as well, isn't it? Because I'm not a journalist. So then
Well, you just proclaimed you were.
Well, no,
did you have to
Will's
write
nodding.
stuff down for it or not?
well,
Oh no, he's not a journalist. He just rode a bike.
a lot of them record it, don't they? And then someone else writes it. But I said I wanted to go at writing my own stuff.
Did you write it?
Yeah, and I said,
Good
if it's
man.
shit, then delete it. But they said, can you do 500 words for each bike, and then you'll be like the second opinion. So I said,
Sounds
yeah,
like
no
detention,
worries.
that doesn't it?
No, it was good. I liked it. It was a bit of crack. That it was nice to just. So I wrote my own thing, and they didn't edit it. And they had to take out sweating like a gypsy with a mortgage. Apparently, I wasn't allowed to put that one in. That'll probably get out.
Wait, no, it would. Have said that, Lord.
So which was your favourite?
Ducati.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why? For what
The
reason?
Honda was like the
It's
Honda.
most expensive.
No,
That's natural. That's
that
how
was
the world
the
works.
worst thing because
Really?
it felt like I'm never going to own one of these. I'm
sports
never
bike?
ever going to be able to buy one of these.
Well, how much are the other two?
Half the price on the
Yeah, I think what's the Honda 25, 26, and then
That
the
is
Beam was
fucking mental, that,
the
innit?
Beam was like
25
34 or
Well,
35.
like a race bike's 42. Like
But the one
just
I
a
was
stock
on,
bike's like 42 grand to build, isn't it?
Yeah.
that Ducati was 48,000 quid because of the Akrapovic on it was 8 grand. Apparently, I'm quoting the numbers that I was told. It was 8 grand for an exhaust system. So it's 50 G's, isn't it?
I tell you what, I must like. Who was with you on that? Tim Neve.
Tim Neve,
Hey, good to see.
Bruce.
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 Yeah.
And Bruce owns the magazine.
He's the editor, so he's the top man. He's the
He's the
manager.
top man.
Yeah.
He's the gaffer.
Yeah.
But I tell you what.
You're going to go Tim Neve then?
No, Tim Neve. You know what? Like, because like, the last we hit. My God, how long ago was that?
Well, we did the one with him and Jason, didn't we? We sat down with him and
Jesus,
Jason.
we did. And then not too long. But which round was it? He actually stepped down from McCams, didn't he? He stepped down from Superbikes.
He stepped down from racing.
Racing. He did, yeah.
Knockhill? Was it Knockhill? He didn't do Knockhill,
After
did he?
Knockhill, I think it
After
was. wasn't
Knockhill?
it?
Yeah, he had
Went to
an
Knockhill,
accident at the test.
Yeah.
And then,
That's why he didn't ride at
And I
Knockhill.
think
Didn't
that was
ride
it.
it,
He
Knockhill.
said, I'm done with it.
which is a massive thing. So Tim had an opportunity of, let's say, a lifetime.
Yeah,
Took
it
a bit of support to help him get it, which is really quite impressive because it's not easy to get support.
For Superbike.
And then
Period. Yeah, one period. Yeah.
I don't understand how hard that decision must have been to then step back from it.
but
No. You know what? Fair play. You know
yeah,
what?
fair play to him, because
He's been flat tracking, hasn't he?
Like,
Well, he's
no,
back.
world level.
He's
No,
back
not
to
even
stop.
that.
I know, but then he went flat tracking straight afterwards. I don't think he was completely done with racing. I think he was done with road racing from
this situation.
from when we had the crack on the Isle of Man anyway. And he said, I've just been flat tracking and just enjoying riding a bike again.
And it
People
shows
probably
though.
don't realise the pressure that, like, you know yourself, you've all been there, but the superbike job is so difficult. Like, I couldn't imagine having to do it, and then to be in the team that's won the British
There's a
Championship.
lot of expectation, and you've got
Yeah.
Jason as a teammate who's up the pointy end, and there's an expectation there, and
Yeah.
then you already know you're playing second fiddle because he's
Well,
the main man. And
not even second fiddle. More the case of just like when you look at what he did, it wasn't terrible at all.
I thought he was doing a very good job.
Yeah, but it's just difficult. You don't know. People probably don't realise the pressure is ridiculous, isn't it? And from to take that decision is massive, and then to come back and then win a race in Superstock, I just think fair just
Yeah,
shows
it
the
was
level.
good. It was
Shows
good to
the
see,
level.
Oh, the lad can pedal a bike, and it's mad, but it's like people read and listen to what they want to hear. And I almost, when he came back in the British, or even got back on a bike flat tracking and everything like that, it was like, I can't remember what his statement was, but I remember him leaving a statement on his own social media going, and yeah, I'm only speculating, but from what I heard was, I've lost my love and I don't want to do it anymore for now. And then he suddenly came back, and my question is, it's like, has that made him a bit of a fool. No. Hold on. I made that sound derogatory, but it's not. I'm packing him a racing, and then he suddenly comes back.
I mean, did he come back too fast?
No, not even that. Like, you've kind of made this public opinion. I'm not
sound false, like, sort of thing.
I really liked him. I'm talking about this particular example. It's a bit like, well, him saying I'm packed in and then suddenly coming back. It's like, why did he feel the need to release a statement?
Well, he has to give a reason to the team and everybody else.
Of course he does, but that's the way we all are now. It's almost like if you say something, you've got to leave a response, and it's a shame the world's come to that.
The reality is probably more the situation that he was in that he was displeased about.
Yeah.
And I kind of credit him for doing it the way he did, really.
He did it really professionally.
Yeah, because what he hasn't done is slag the people off that he had success with in Superstock, gave him the opportunity to go to Superbike. Yeah. Just for whatever. He's not saying the people, the team, the whatever, the situation, the pressure, whatever position he was in wasn't right. And you know yourself, like, never leaves you. Like, it's in your blood, isn't it? So if someone offers you something on a good competitive bike in a class that's going to restore your confidence, and you don't know what that conversation went like. It could have been, come and ride this. No financial investment. Like, come and ride it. Yeah. Just enjoy it. No expectation. See what you can do. And that might have been the deal.
No, and I think it's great that he's done that, but it's almost a shame.
Yeah, but it might not have been his initial intention, you know what I mean?
100%. But I think it's so quick now that the world has become such a fast place where you have to back everything up immediately.
Did that happen with him? Because you're saying that, but I never heard anyone give him any slaver for coming back.
No. I'm not saying I'm not saying he had slaver. I'm just saying it's a bit like, when people feel like, my point is, people feel like they have to say something now.
Yeah, he shouldn't have to justify or explain anything, should he? If he doesn't want to race bikes anymore, he should be able to just not race bikes.
Exactly.
But to be fair,
that's my point.
If you're in a factory supported team and you've raised X amount, or whether you're being paid X amount, you are accountable. You're accountable to the sponsors, the mechanics, the people that are on a full-time wage. There's a lot of people there that you do have to give an explanation to, because I couldn't just walk away from my job tomorrow and just go, no, but I'm leaving.
No, but in the same breath.
And that's his job.
Oh, no, but I can understand, like, Tim, Tim would have spoken to the people that he needs to speak to. And yet again, I feel like I'm covering my tracks here. I'm not having a go at the lad for doing what he did. But I feel like it's like he's almost like, and I don't know the situation, I keep saying that, but it's almost like he's had to put something out. And it's like, it's a shame he had to do that. If you just wanted to tell his sponsors, look, I'm going to take a step back, go and join me flat track riding. And I totally agree. No one's slavered up off for making a return. Yeah. But it's almost, my point is, it's the shame that people have to feel like they have to put something out when they don't need to.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
I think that's the world we live in. Like,
it is.
They look at all the teams that have made announcements and stuff recently about rider changes and stuff. Like, it's the first place people go to look for news now, and it is. Yeah, you are a bit of a slave to social media, unfortunately. Just reality.
We're the same.
It's not right, but it's just reality.
Can I bring some on? We can edit out if you don't want to.
Don't say COVID.
No. Because on that note about he just wasn't in a happy place enjoying himself. You haven't had the easiest start, have you?
Not at all, no.
And I had a
disaster.
I had a chat with Nicola at Alton, and she just said you weren't in a happy place, full stop. Not necessarily just because of just when things aren't working, they aren't working, are they?
Well, they're not. Like we just spoke about, the pressure is enormous.
There's an expectation, isn't there?
But not necessarily. I don't think, like, personally speaking, I don't feel more the pressure from outside so much because I put enough on it myself.
Yeah.
Anything else, like if the bucket's full, you can't put more water in it. It doesn't really make a difference. It just pours over the top. So you can't have more than the maximum. But for sure, I always put it this way: whenever any of us started riding motorbikes, we didn't do it because we went, "I'm going to be a professional at that." Yeah. You did it because you got on a bike and you were like, "Fucking hell, this is cool. Enjoy it. It's mint."
Yeah.
And then certain people end up being quite good at it, and then you get a job at it, and then that's not what you did it for.
Yeah.
So I go motocrossing to enjoy riding motorbikes. I don't necessarily enjoy racing a superbike
because it became a job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you've got to.
Most of the fun is taken away from you.
Yeah.
Almost all of it. It's not necessarily a fun thing to do.
I said to him earlier on. So we've been fitting a staircase and like a mezzanine floor in the garage. And I said to him earlier on that.
Well, Will has. He's dressed for work.
Well, he says, I fucking hate joiner, I hate my job. And I said, you'd hate riding bikes if you did it for a living. I don't ride bikes for a living, but what I've just done last week, I've put myself in a situation where there has to be a certain level that you have to go to, and immediately it's changed.
So let's I need to quantify it a little bit because I was probably sounding a bit downbeat then, but it is the most amazing job you could ever want. You're doing your hobby and you get paid for it, and there's 40,000 people turn up to cheer you on, and like it's amazing. But then it's not, because you can't actually enjoy most of those elements because there is such a need to perform. Yeah, you've got a tent in hospitality that's full up of people that expect you to do well because they're sponsoring the team and doing whatever. You've got your own sponsors in there and they expect you to perform, and they've got everything that goes on. You've got a bike that's worth more than I could ever afford, and every time I crash it, everyone has a glum face on, and but you've got to go fast, so you've got that to deal with. You know that when you get to qualifying that you got to go a second faster than you went all weekend, even though your arse was hanging out the whole of the rest of the weekend anyway. You're like,
that blows my mind down.
It's there's so many things to it that it is honestly amazing. It's the best thing ever, but most of the enjoyment of riding bikes is taken away from it because it becomes a job.
Yeah.
So don't take it the wrong way. It is the most amazing job I could have, but also it's a shame that they've just that pure enjoyment of riding a bike for the fun of it is taken away.
Removed.
And most of the enjoyment comes when you are performing well. So if you're then not performing well, then that's the last ounce of enjoyment that's left in it goes away.
That's a really interesting comment, that though. It's like you've put that, absolutely hit that nail on the head. It has to be removed. That's a really interesting. You just said, the enjoyment. You literally just mumbled to yourself like it has to be removed, and that's actually a really interesting way of, that's the whole point of this little side of the subject. It's almost like, right,
it's a bit serious. It's a bit serious, but it is how it goes.
But do you not think a lot of people that like, I don't know, maybe I don't want to sound like a boring bastard in a pub empty, but I think a lot of people that listen and watch do actually they love the crack that we have, but they actually like the inside bit that they never get to see. And the conversation
I think potentially people don't always understand the ins and outs, because it does. Yeah. You see from the outside, and even I sometimes walk down and you see the big trucks and you see the hospitality units and you see all the glitz and the glamour and the all the razzmatazz. It's amazing. And you're like,
does your head not roll off though? Like you've just said then, where you've described, you've got those people in hospitality, and make it worse for you now, but you've got all those people in hospitality, the sponsors, the team, the truck, the fucking garages set up, all the pit boards. It's all revolving around you.
No, I mean, like I said, it doesn't. The pressure's once real, the bucket's full, it's not too much, but the pressure is so much greater than anything you can ever imagine, because people have really pressured jobs. But it's not it's not a set job. You've got a contract. The main rule in racing is people only remember your last race. Yeah. So do you know what I mean? Your contracts pretty much only ever last 1 year.
Yeah. Mm.
Sometimes they have an extension, but it's usually an extension with a clause, which means if you do shit, it's not an extension.
Yeah.
So it's the most unsecure job you could ever possibly have. But it is amazing. It's just different to what I think the vast majority of people think that you're doing. And like I said, probably the thing that's been hard for me this year is because I've not been performing to the standard that I thought we were going to, not even anywhere near. Mm. So then it becomes that enjoyment, that self-gratification, because that's what you're doing it for, is to show that you are the best person there. If that starts to then go because you're not getting that self-gratification, you're like, fuck, man, this is hard.
Yeah.
And everyone is trying 100%.
Yeah,
the person in first place and the person in last place is trying exactly the same. There's no difference in effort.
But that feeling's the same throughout the team, isn't it?
100%. And you win and lose together, you do everything. So when a team's on and up, it's in you can feel you ride the crest of a wave. And when it's difficult, it's so hard to get out of that. And I think most of this year we've been struggling to get out of that. And it's just like a few times we've had a few glimmers of hope, and then you sort of get kicked back down again.
You went well at Brands.
We've got a couple of podiums.
You know what I mean? Knockhill, Brands, it's...
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple of podiums, but it's been a crazy disappointing year. Mm. I thought this year was probably going to be my
golden opportunity.
Yeah, my best chance. So even before, when I was with PBM, I was like, the first year I was like, maybe I hadn't really. I always thought I was the best, but I hadn't even proved it even to myself, so I sort of needed to prove it to myself. So
Yeah.
the first year I wasn't sure. When I was with them, I was like, oh, actually, yeah. Then the second year, maybe that one I felt as good as I did this year, but then also this year I was like, yeah, I'm another year in. I'd had a year on a bike that wasn't the favoured bike, so I thought, right, I'm going to come back to a better package, and it's going to be, click and go well.
Yeah.
I know the team is capable of it. I'm convinced I'm capable of it, otherwise I wouldn't bother. And then it just hasn't worked out. So, yeah,
There's 2 rounds
it's hard.
left.
You say the win and lose together is probably right in principle, but actually, and people won't see this, it's a human thing, right? You probably do lose together to a degree, but how often do you feel that pressure? Basically, when you're losing, people in the team they automatically look at the rider because you're the one sat on the thing. They do. Yeah. I do it obviously.
And he's best mates with Jack.
Yeah, but you
Jack's first one to blame Jack.
Well, no, Jack's currently in a difficult situation.
Very difficult situation. I'm lucky that I get to stand there and watch you lads at the side of the track on pit lane every week watching. And I must admit, this weekend at Alton Park, I just thought, I love riding motorbikes, and if I could do this for a living, I would. But when you hear the Ducati especially come out of that last corner, you can't see it at this point, but you can hear it spinning its cock off coming out of turns, and they're not at 100% throttle going over that crest, and the things, you can physically see it like sitting down sideways, and then it's fucking wheeling. You know he's in 4th or 5th gear, and the thing's like, and then you're like, fuck me, he's got to stop for that corner. You've been round it, you know yourself how hard it is, and you're like,
I've got a semi on.
Yeah, but honest, you think to yourself like, fuck me, the level is unbelievable. And
just to point on that, at Cadwell the other week, so I was waiting to go down the bottom, and I think it was stock 1,000 on before us, and I was watching, I'm like, fuck, do we go that fast?
Yeah.
Shit me right up. Honestly, I couldn't believe it. I was like,
at stock. You know what I mean?
Well, they do go nearly as fast this year, but I was still like,
second, isn't it?
you know, when you sort of don't even realise what you're doing, you're like,
I've said to people,
holy crap.
watching the TT is worse than riding it, isn't it?
I've never.
Watching it's awful. Watching
Yeah.
it, you
Yeah,
just
I
sit
can
there and you
imagine.
go, oh my god, that's mental. But
I
then
don't even-
you think, it doesn't, it's not that bad.
So when you talk about
When I break down, I go look for a beer, or like, mate, I don't
go
go near
near
the track,
Lambo.
mate. I'm not. No, honestly, I like get away from the track.
I can well imagine that, and I just think what you say is dead right, and the majority of teams do think win and lose together, but actually it doesn't always feel like losing together. And I've witnessed it where riders get the opposite of that, and I feel it myself. Jack's a very good mate, and I wish him well. And the reality is, I'm actually really kind of working in racing for him, really, because not for him. That sounds
No, wait, he's your mate. You're there to support him.
Like, I could actually do with not going racing at the minute. Like, if I was going racing, giving up this much time, I'd rather be riding myself. But
Yeah.
I do it because I believe in him and I want to see him win. And it's frustrating when you watch. He's 4 times British champion. You see him go out there and he does a lap time. You're like, fuck me, mint. And I'm like, oh, 34. I'm like looking on the screen like this, and I'm like, oh, fuck me, 10th. And you're like, yeah, half a second, he'd be 4th. Yeah. And you just, it's really this year, my head has rolled off at the level and how hard, and he comes in, you see how hard he's trying, and I'm a bit like, fuck's sake, Jack, can you not just put it on pole, please? Put it on the box. Like, it's nothing. Yeah. But you just naturally, because you want to do that as well, but it's so...
A difficult weekend's results don't really reflect quite how hard.
No.
Yeah.
He had 2 crashes at the weekend there, and a DNF in the last race.
And that came after a post that
he's not staying with the team.
That can't be a good thing, that.
Well, you imagine the pressure you've now got to be under, and I'm not slagging the team or anybody off by this. The team made a decision; they're going to go with somebody else. That is what it is. He's now looking for a job. That's the crack.
It's hard for him to keep motivated.
But now he's got
back and back.
Yeah. So now he's got to dig in and go, well, I've got to continue doing all this.
Risky neck.
And next year I've got to provide for my family, so I can't take a shit ride and earn no money. So I've got to earn something. There's not really many seats left in the Superbike. Everyone's pretty much a done deal, other than maybe 2. And yeah, how can you switch your brain on to then go and do that? It's ridiculous. The pressure's unreal.
But then you see potentially there's 2 ways it can work out. Because then we've seen since Lee Jackson's
mate,
learned,
that
he's lost his ride. He's just been
Contract
insane.
Yeah.
Now,
just done that, hasn't he? He's just
it
gone.
could genuinely be coincidence.
Bollocks. He's
No,
just
it could
gone.
be because Lee is capable of those things regardless.
100%.
But oh my god.
Yeah.
You know,
Because it sounds like you're saying, yeah, because people say that and they're like, oh yeah, it's contract time, so he's pulled his leg out, he's pulled his... No, maybe he's just taking a few more risks that he doesn't necessarily... I don't know what it is, maybe a mindset changes or whatever, but you don't not try.
Do you not think that's a massive jump from where he has been to now? Like,
No, because look at
he's
Alton
now
Park.
where he should be.
Yeah, but look at Alton Park last year, like... He did, like, one, to circuit he goes well at. This is not me knocking Lee. I think Lee's great and he deserves...
and so is Cadwell as well, and he went well at Cadwell.
Yeah, exactly right. So he rode really well. Absolutely a bit of fire in the belly because he's lost his ride, and under the circumstances, Jason's going there, all the rest of it, and he's probably a bit like, fuck you sort of thing. Fair enough.
And
but he wasn't...
fuck you's go, it was pretty good.
It was pretty
Jason
good.
had a pretty bad
It is
weekend.
an outstanding fuck you. That is
But
it.
the other thing as well is, you can't say that Lee wasn't trying in the start of the year.
Nah.
There's so many elements.
That's why it kind of annoys me, that sort of thing, because I do think it can be coincidental.
Yeah,
these things
exactly.
happen.
It's not
100%.
just because he's losing his job. He was trying 100% anyway, like, because they all do.
Jack's trying 100% from
Every
the start
week,
to
like, yeah.
the
Yeah,
end.
100%.
Everyone
If he
is.
goes and sticks it on the box next week, he didn't try any harder that week because he's lost his job than he did
Exactly.
in round one when he was up there and could have led a race and all the rest of it. Like,
But on a spectator element, it looks brilliant right now.
that's great. You're sort of happy for him, aren't you? Because
course you are.
he's done a great job.
Yeah.
Mint, like, fair play. And to be fair to the team, like, I'm not being funny or bad to Lee. If I owned that team and I wanted to hire a rider, they've invested in Max Cook. Get that, he's going to stay. He's outperformed what he should have done this year, in my opinion. He's had a good run.
Mm-hmm.
He's deserving of our ride. Fortunate to continue with that ride. Jason O'Halloran is one of the best riders on the grid. If I want to employ a winner, like, yeah, fair play. Like, it's fine. It's sad for Lee, but it's just
It's a
a
very
fact.
good sign.
And
that is a
Kawasaki.
bit like I said. Then that is a difficult thing, because we just said about you're only as good as your last race, and then people go, oh, they made the wrong decision there, but they look on at the long term.
Of course they do.
Do you know what I mean?
And you don't
People
know
are
how
stupid.
that
And-
relationship's happened, how things have been maybe falling a bit behind the scenes. We don't know what's gone on in
And
there.
you also don't know behind the scenes how the situation comes about.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you had a superbike team now, so you've got let's just say you're going to...
You've got your up and comer. You've
Yeah.
got one seat left.
Yeah, but let's just say we've got a new team for next year. It's good enough to be established straight away. They're on Hondas or whatever. A bike that you know is going to be somewhere near.
That's any bike.
That's actually very true, to be honest. Yeah, because they're all capable. There's not one manufacturer that's... The Ducati's got fucking loads of power, but that creates its own issues, right? So, who would you have? So,
Easy.
But bearing in mind, McCann's couldn't really fill the seat. At one point in this season, there wasn't really anybody good enough to chuck on it and go quick straight away. They were given chances to people
Yeah.
who...
They've got Nicolo Canepa riding it for the last
Yeah, which is amazing.
Which is
cool.
Amazing.
Really cool.
Because for people who don't know, Canepa he's done a load in European
Yeah.
Superstock. There was a European
Yes,
Superstock
he's in
champion.
MotoGP.
Yeah, he was champion, I think.
MotoGP.
Yeah.
Now he's in the Yacht
Yeah.
World Endurance.
He's world
team.
champion, isn't
Double
he?
world
As
champion,
of last week.
I just think he's mega. He's mega, and it's going to be cool to see.
He does a
him
lot
on
of Yamaha stuff anyway,
Yeah,
doesn't he?
yeah,
So he's
yeah.
a doer. Like, you'll go well, for sure. But
that.
who would you...
But with this electronics package element.
We had this little
I know we
conversation
always
on
have
the-
this
on the
conversation with
group
relevant
chat. It'll be
BSP.
interesting. I don't know.
You're a betting man. Let's put a wager on the table.
I think he'd be
bear
top
in mind,
five. I think
my
he'd be top
wage.
10 instantly.
Really?
He'll get a top 5.
Especially at Donington, because it's a more normal track.
And Brands
He's
as
back
well,
to
he's
a better
going-
track straight away. It's a bit harsh, like we always say, if you go to Cadwell or something, then it's
You're up
hard,
against
isn't
it,
it?
yeah.
All our listeners will be going, give us a number. I am not educated enough in this man, or period.
I actually think I think he'll qualify top 6.
Top 6, right?
Yeah, but I think he'll finish lower, because I think he'll
burn his tyre out.
No, I think that the racing is not what he might always be used to.
Yeah, it's an
different
aggressive thing, yeah.
Yeah, all motorcycle racing the sport is the same, but it's not. The way that you race is different. And BSB is quite aggressive racing.
Wait till Tommy Bridewell launches his brakes on in front of you behind the pace car. Then see how he feels.
Oh, we haven't even got to that. We have got so much to talk about before that little episode.
I don't have any. It did ridiculous.
Whoa, hold on. Can we? Look,
I don't feel guilty about saying that. It was bad
Mate, we're trying to run a show here. We've got to leave the juice to the end, son. We've got to leave the
I'm
juice
getting
to
looks
the
of
end.
used to as if to say like.
No, mate.
Don't bother me.
Whoa. Can we just?
have a
Can we just?
different
Whoa.
opinion.
Can we pump the brake? Look, let's see.
What's your opinion?
We need to leave bollocks. Steve.
No.
We are. No, we're not
doing
going
it.
into.
We're doing
We're not.
We're
We're
balls
not.
deep now.
No, we
We're
haven't.
fully in.
I think we're balls deep.
Hold on.
It's 3-1, pal. You're out.
bollocks to you.
Joe has a different opinion.
Go
No,
on.
I don't necessarily have a
balls
different
deep it
opinion.
is.
But I think,
It's boring then. Move on.
I think
It's going to be the
if you've
quickest
ever
show we've ever done.
if you've ever ridden on the road, the concertina effect
That's not the
of that
rules.
is so hard. If somebody at the front slows down a little bit,
Yeah.
the effect
He didn't slow
5
down
or
a
6
little bit,
riders
though.
back
Yeah.
is massive. And I know he didn't slow down a little bit. He put the brakes on.
Yeah.
But
I was P6 at the
Go on.
time.
he
He
and that's
definitely,
from the
or
camera
7,
angle.
sorry. He set off out of Druids, and
Yeah.
I did think, that's a bit near, as into the safety car, because I'd see how far he'd let it go.
Yeah,
But you've got to go,
yeah.
so you go with him. And then he slowed up, which wasn't horrendous, and then he anchored up.
Did he? Right.
Well, Ryan Vickers could have.
I saw the Ryan Vickers.
Ryan
Well, that's
Vickers
what I'm
was
talking
so
about.
close to me.
He's so far back that by the time he gets there,
I've read a load of comments on online. It is funny some of the things you read, because unless you're there and in real time,
You get a
it's
briefing.
so funny, and it is funny that some of the things you read, like, oh, the other riders should be looking what they're doing. That's not how it is.
bullshit, like, it doesn't.
And then,
I've got
but
the
there
rule
is
here.
exactly there is a rule. Go
No,
on.
no, I've got. Well, hold on. Do you want to get the
Well, you
opinions
get a
out
briefing
first?
at the start of the year
No,
that tells you not to do exactly what he did.
This came
Agreed.
off. Lauren found this. This is from Fred Clark, so he's obviously stated his point. You know, the fact that he doesn't work, and this is the rule. So, thus, the incident today is covered by under MCRCB Rule 1.4.4.13, which states at this point the first rider in line behind the safety car may dedicate the pace, and if necessary, fall more than approximately 5 machine lengths behind it. In order to avoid the likelihood of accidents before the safety car enters pit lane, from the point at which the lights on the car are turned out, riders must proceed at a pace which involves no erratic acceleration or braking, nor any other manoeuvre which is likely to endanger other riders or impede the restart. All riders are deemed to know and abide by the MCCB rules. As this Latin maximum states, oh my God, I am not reading.
Don't worry, you've covered the main bit.
Mate,
Yeah,
Fred
yeah.
Clark, you did a beautiful job of that, and I'm
legend
just.
Fred Clark.
Basically, you can't
All hail
suddenly
Fred Clark.
speed up and then anchor up.
And
There was no greater anchoring up than what that was.
I'm going to tell you now, I sat there, like, I was sitting there watching it on the telly at BSB, and my first initial instinct was bullshit. You know what I mean? You know, from when you saw that point, I was honestly 100% convinced Bridewell did nothing wrong. That was, no. That was first initial instinct. I thought, he's controlled the pace, he actually hasn't done anything wrong. You know, from when the angle... No. That was first initial glance. And you know, that whole lap, the cool down, like, this is... And I was fully like, toys out the pram. Now, you know when my opinion changed?
When you read the rule.
No. That onboard. You're not seeing the
Yeah,
onboard.
that shouldn't make a difference. Your first...
No,
hold on. Your first thought process was, he's done a great job by controlling the pace, right? So you're impressed with him. And seeing the onboard should make no difference. In fact, you should be even more impressed because he created a complete clusterfuck.
No.
So actually, you should be even more impressed with him until you read the rule.
No.
I know where you're coming
No,
from.
hold on. Christy, I'm watching this on Eurosport.
Yeah.
Watching a headline shot.
That's the problem from the
that's-
camera
no,
angle.
from what I saw-
That's why I said what I said, because from what it looked like he did was from that camera angle was he's coming in,
Yep.
he's braked. Yes, he's braked more. It didn't look like he'd gone, "Aish," and done.
Do you know what it is? It's not even the braking. It's
Because
not,
did
it
you
was
hear
the
Whittam,
acceleration
though?
out the turn before.
Did you hear Whittam? Whittam went,
No.
well, yeah, but... And that was my fit. I thought, well, it's a bit savage.
So this
but-
is the thing, 100%. So Whittam was going, yeah, don't see anything wrong with that.
That's-
Which is fine if you don't know the rule.
No, but
But we had it drilled into us in the pre-season briefing, and I mean drilled into us.
Do not do
The
that.
person
Right.
behind the safety car, and as well, he also fell way more than 5 bike lengths behind, which you're not supposed to.
Can I say
So,
that
when
what
you've
he
had it
did
drilled
isn't
into
the
you-
first time we've seen that kind of
This year it is
this year, but like in
because
the past,
because it
behind.
wasn't a thing before.
But even in previous years, when I've been riding, you get told when you're being trusted here and don't fuck about because it's dangerous, because that concertina effect
It's massive.
no.
actually started that coming out of Druids. He didn't. I know what you're saying. You look at the onboard and the forks go like that up again, then and he stops twice. It was what he created was this fucking line of 10 bikes going flat out, and then he goes.
And what made it worse was that Vickers, if you watch the onboards, had dropped a little bit further back,
And
so
then
he
comes-
came with a head of
running into
speed.
it. Yeah.
But even Glenn Irwin was welded to his back wheel and nearly ran into the back with him. Kyle Ryder was welded to Glenn's back wheel and had to go around the
That's
outside.
what I mean about that concertina effect.
It's not
Before
even a
you know it,
concertina.
they're like-
They were right on his arse. So they hadn't even done that concertina effect.
You've dug a grave for me. I'm in it, mate. You have sat in the perfect seat. This has worked out accidentally. That they've got
I do understand
that
where
side
you're
and
coming
our side,
from,
but
actually.
I'm talking as a spectator, not as a rider. At this point, I am watching this on the telly with Joe, by all accounts, because we watch the same thing. That headline shot does not show the exit of that turn. We are talking a headline effect. Now, from that point, you cannot. I'm talking about watching 3 riders in the front. You don't see the pace break over the back. My initial instinct of watching that was he's coming to turn 1 at essentially the same pace and hasn't anchored. He's just slowing everyone up. But when I watched the onboard, you could see exactly coming out of Druids, the horse is bolted and the lads have gone chasing the horse. And then he's just...
I never saw the onboard.
Mate, I saw the onboard and he can just go whum, and it just go... For the audio listeners, I'm trying to simulate that voice and that audio in there. breaking hard. You know, fundamentally, I feel like I'm covering my arse again. I like Tommy Bridewell, but he did fuck up.
Yeah, look, Tommy Bridewell's a fantastic rider, and he was leading the British Championship, and he went out in the next race and won the race fair and square.
Absolutely class.
For someone in his position at that level, it was fucking dangerous, and he knew exactly what he was doing. End of.
But I've got a lot of respect for Tommy. He thinks that I don't like him, but it's not true. But that was a really bad thing to do.
That could have been really bad.
And I mean really bad thing to do.
But you were in
It
costume as
doesn't
well.
matter how you look at it, that was a really bad thing to do. And we were all sat in that briefing, and literally, I totally get it that people that don't know the rules and haven't had it drilled into them that is not what you do, wouldn't know. And you go, fair play, he's controlling the race, but that isn't the rule.
Yeah. You've been told the opposite.
So
of doing
that is not the rule. So I totally get how those people that aren't privy to that information can be like, yeah, it's fine.
The other thing as well
we know
is
the
you
rules.
you can't, when you're in 10th, so you want to try doing this in the mid-pack of a Superstock race, and you're P10, you can't really see the car. You know it's going in that lap, so you're getting ready.
Yeah.
But when
You're
them
getting ready
lads
to
go,
slingshot,
you
aren't
can't
you?
see what Tommy Bridewell's done.
No.
You don't know he's braked. They haven't got brake lights on it. You can't see. You are relying on that's why the rule's there,
That's
because you
why
are
that rule's
relying
there.
on people being sensible. If he had a cruised out of Druids, even if he dropped more than 5 things, which would have been wrong,
Concertina effect.
if he had just cruised out of there like that, looking behind, and then went gone, like that actually would have been like, yeah, that was a bit smart. It was wrong, but it was a bit smart. And he didn't really cause anything drastic, but to go and stop. The going and stopping is the fundamental issue, and that is what you're told. And that isn't even just a new thing this year. You've been told not to do it.
At the end of the day, yet again, the arse covering exercise of this, you know, Tommy's never wanted to hurt people, period. You know, we all know that, and he did it, you know, and what was very good, he went on his social, and, you know, he was talking about his point of view of it, you know, and go look at that, visit that, and what he always said, you know, it was very, he diggled with that incredibly well. He got his point across, and, you know, he said, look, made a mistake, and he won't do it again. You're thinking, but it's a massive, my God, it was just... The way it was dealt with, the manner, everything, and
the most impressive thing about that is all the riders crossed the line in the right position.
Yeah.
Did that?
Yeah, you were
Vickers
100%.
did well
It
to get
was
back in there.
insane because I was like I said, I think I was P6, I think 7 at the time, whatever it was. So I'm like, even then I'm thinking,
Oh, I'm in the right
Never
position.
six people in front is quite hard to gauge.
Sus, yeah. So then you're like, do I go or
Because
do
there's
I not?
people
Like,
everywhere. Vickers had gone bombing through there. Carl's off on the outside somewhere. You're like, where should I be? You know, like, and everyone went through that first lap. I was expecting maybe another safety car to come out. You know, like almost to null it, to
rejig it.
to redo the race or something.
You know how you know in the rules.
So it came out in the best possible way. Everything turned out fine.
Yeah, no one injured.
Yeah.
Everyone in
the
spot.
right place.
The race continued. So let's talk about, you know, in theory, was that penalty severe enough, or what?
Yeah, you should have just took the penalty. So look,
No, I'm like, you know,
yeah.
long lap disqual.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm
yeah,
talking
long
about
lap,
the
yeah,
extremities of it. You know what I mean?
so I hate the long lap and I like the long lap because the long lap affects the race in a much cleaner way. If you're
Yes.
going to get a penalty, it does affect the race. However, and this is not a BSB thing. This is a sporting thing. Like, there's too many people getting involved in things. So, like, certain incidences that you end up getting a penalty for because you think, oh, fuck, didn't really need to do that. But you set a precedent now. You kind of got to do it.
Politics.
Yeah, it's difficult, but it's there, and it's no one's fault, really. I kind of get it, but it's just a byproduct of where we are. he should have just took the penalty. Unfortunately, he didn't. He apologised for it, whatever. Like, he'll probably go and win next weekend, and he'll
probably win the championship after this.
Yeah, he'll probably get forgotten about, right? But he just should have just took the penalty. He should have just took the penalty. Like, it wasn't a bad penalty. He probably still would have finished 4th or something.
Well, he did take the penalty because he got given it.
He got given the penalty to 6, is that
yeah,
correct?
but he didn't do the long lap, did he?
He didn't have time.
He didn't
though,
have
did he?
time.
Oh, sorry.
He's got
sorry,
3
that's
laps
right.
to
Yeah,
do.
No,
sorry.
he didn't have time.
I was thinking
Yeah,
about
that wasn't his
something.
fault.
Yeah, sorry.
It was only 3 laps to go, or whatever. So he had the time equivalent.
Yeah, fair enough, yeah. But he reacted in the wrong way, didn't he? Like, fair play. But I also sympathise with that, was what I was getting at. How many times, like, you know yourself how hyped up you get. If someone shoved a microphone in your face after that had just happened.
Oh.
We did a club meeting at the start of the year, and I crashed into the side of a back marker with a 3-second lead on a CB500, and I wanted to kill this guy until I got reminded that this is a club meeting and we're just having a bit of crack. So could you imagine in that situation if someone stuck a microphone under you and you've just been put to the back of the grid for what you don't at the time deemed to be an incident that you thought was worthy of it? You're gonna fucking erupt, aren't you? And then people judge you based on that reaction. People don't take that. Same with footballer. If you're a professional footballer, you're like all hyped up, and someone puts a microphone in front of you.
I don't think people either realise how charged you get as a rider.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
you know, people who haven't done it.
Yeah.
Don't understand.
So that's a bit disrespectful, and like I can sympathise why. Look, he reacted wrong. He did something wrong. He reacted wrong. He's since apologised for it. Great.
Well, it was like the Seeley.
And I sympathise for the fact that you had to deal with
the
that.
Seeley and Olsen scrap. You kind of think,
Brilliant.
yeah, but to me, that I don't think that needed penalties. What do you expect? 2 lads that have just been ripping around.
Yeah,
and
but you
they're fired
can't.
up to-
Yeah, but then you can't justify people punching each other in the face.
It wasn't like
television.
it wasn't like
Don't matter.
to me. Well, I think it. I think it doesn't matter. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
but
Nobody
that's-
got hurt with that, did they? Like,
Mate, people punch people in the car park of
it's a
Asda.
bit of
Nobody
crap.
got hurt, not with punches like that. They didn't know.
No, exactly.
Yeah, but it's
exactly.
Yeah, but it's not.
Drag them in the office, tell them, lads, you know, we can't have fighting. But I don't know. I like the old school way, you know.
You're making
Yeah.
us look bad, you pair of fannies.
Yeah,
Take your helmets off and start gloves down, yeah.
yeah, but to
Bring in ice hockey rules into
I
it.
can't wait to see Alistair now.
yeah. But you
I'm going
can't,
to get windmilled.
you can't have one rule for one and not for the other, can you?
You'll get a step.
You'd have to get a step. I was trying to say that.
Oh my God. I'll tell you what, you know, it's like, you can almost talk about the political route again and again and again. It's all about that justification. People like, do they feel like they have to go online and do this and do
Well,
that?
right,
It's
if you
mental.
think right now, we are in the dirtiest period of racing ever.
I couldn't agree more.
No, but are we?
What? Trying to justify yourself?
No, as in like all these penalties are getting dished out. But if you got race direction to go and watch a video from
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
1960, whatever it is, you know, I don't know, some Grand Prix, let's just make it up, and then they watched it and saw
Swanson Rainey.
penalty. How many would they get? So
Valentino and
statistically, we're in the dirtiest
Yeah.
period of racing we've ever had because you
There's
get,
rules to
because there's
govern it now.
3 penalties a race or whatever, you know, like whatever there is, there'll be a stat. Whereas 50 years ago, there was no penalties. That's because they didn't
50
bother.
years ago, 10 years ago, it wasn't like this.
5
was it?
years ago it
5
wasn't
years
like
ago,
that.
something like that.
It's the argument that they're having to enforce these things for insurance reasons and stuff like that. Get the tin hat.
No.
Get the tin
It's
hat.
just, it's just about governing something that's already dangerous. Like, there's got to be growth all the time. They get it, but it is just a difficult thing. And the problem is, in the same way that we're sympathising with Tommy Bridewell for being hyped up and full of adrenaline and reacting poorly, well, no disrespect, but Stuart Higgs is in the same position. He's in the heat of a moment. What he does now is going to affect someone's championship.
Yeah.
Just a caveat, Stuart doesn't make the decision.
Sorry,
completely.
the collective people, whoever, you know, Eddie Roberts and all the people.
What is it?
He's still got, you know what I mean? Like,
Race direction.
Race direction.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
whoever it is. Sorry.
But
Stuart.
like you said, once they
you know what I mean.
set a precedence,
You've got to...
they
Yeah.
have to,
so
they've
there-
set, you know,
that
if
is-
somebody does something to you and you say, come on, this is out of order, and the same
Well,
instant
I've
happens
had
to
it before,
someone else,
so I don't know how much if I'll get in trouble for saying it. But I've had it before where
they'll just cut it out, mate. They'll just
Exactly.
remove the strip.
no, but where I was involved in something, and the other rider went down, and I accepted the penalty, and that's fine. And then I got told, "Listen, Christian, we know you didn't mean it because nobody means it. I don't think anyone means it."
No,
so they
no,
say
they don't,
that.
do they?
But then we have to, if a rider takes out another rider, then we have to be seen to do something.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, I deserved it, so it was fine. Took it on the chin. And then at the very next round, I got wiped out, and the rider got nothing. And I'm like, what's
How's
the
this
rule?
work? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And how
Consistency is what's key, and
yeah.
if they're going to
and
hand
it's,
out
and it is
penalties,
difficult.
Got to be consistent.
And then also, does it get seen? Like, what happens if it's a battle for 15th and someone knocks someone else off and no one sees it?
Yeah.
There's that. Actually, there's no visibility of it. Then,
To be fair, the only time I've experienced it was with Chrissy. He fucking launched into the side of me at Island Bend, took us out in qualifying. Oh, I'm not shitting you. And
Really
Stuart
proud of
Higgs,
the lad.
to be fair, Stuart Higgs sent someone down to come and get her, go to the office. He took me in first and said, that was a bit out of order. What do you want to do about it? And I was like, well, he did do it on purpose. And put him at the back of the grid's not really going to change anything for me. So I know he didn't mean to do it, just leave it. I mean, if he hadn't been me mate, I'd have told him to fucking sack him, but no, I'm joking.
the only thing that has changed from years and years ago is how the close proximity of the racing.
Yeah.
So there is a massive difference, and actually, that is it's caused by the not the organised, it's a bit unfair, but
the rules.
all the rules are going more and more towards close racing. And I can't remember who said it, but someone had mentioned it in MotoGP, saying, right, we've got like all the same tyres, like we've got same ECUs, we've got the best bikes on the grid, we've got all these things going on.
Designed to make close racing.
Everything's designed to make close racing.
Yeah.
We're all within 0.8 of a second or something, the whole grid is. And then they go and put a sprint race in.
Yeah.
And then they get arsey if someone makes a bit of a late lunge.
And do you think it's fair to
So
say
all these,
as well,
all
they make
these
the bikes
things
faster?
are designed to make close racing. And every pass now, you had it in the past. If you look at a timesheet from, let's go real far back, but let's go like the 80s or the 70s or something like that. The timesheet will be, there'll be 3 seconds between first and fifth over one lap. And it's massive.
Yeah.
But would
Same
you watch that?
No, it's nothing to do with that. All I mean is these moves now, to make a move,
You've got 10 people within half a second.
you've got.
of each other.
It's actually
You're making
the
the
rules
window
are
smaller.
causing the issue, and you then have to have a body to
Govern it, yeah.
govern it, because you're making. And actually, MotoGP is the worst for it now, because if you even have an
someone,
intention of doing something, then it's wrong. Do you know, in MotoGP, you're even not allowed to do what I would class as sort of racecraft, where you're not allowed to delay a throttle opening, or let's not say brake check, that'd be more of a motocross thing.
Park at mid-turn to
You're not
slow
allowed to
someone
park
up
at
and then
mid-turn,
get a jump.
exactly.
Which is like
and if that
a
shows,
block pass.
and if that shows up on your telemetry, then that's a.
See, that's too much. That's bollocks. Like, that's too much in it.
And somewhere like Alton, for example, so if MotoGP race at Alton, that is what you do on the last lap of that one. You get in the middle of a chicane, and you watch anyone who's got a bit of a lead, no lead on the last lap. They will not park, but they will just delay that throttle opening, so you just stop that person behind from just getting the run.
Yeah.
It's just racecraft.
Yeah. People know that as well, though, and they'll try and avoid
So
it.
it's frustrating, because actually then I think it's getting really intrusive in that respect.
It's an unsolvable answer.
Well, what I would...
It is, though, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you.
But the more they make it closer, the more you have to make a move that is
risky.
risky, because everyone is out there braking at the latest point possible. So to make a move, you have to brake a little bit past that latest point possible. It's also annoying when they always use the thing like, whenever someone makes a move and it doesn't come off, you say, well, he was offline. You can say, well, of course he was fucking offline. He was trying to make a pass. If he was online, he'd be riding through it. You know, it's just a really annoying thing that gets said. It really gets on my tits, that does.
Yeah, that's why when people are racing, the pace...
It's daft, isn't it?
No, you're
Look
right,
how
yeah.
offline he is. Duh.
Yeah, like...
That's the episode title right there.
But what I would say, like, that stuff in MotoGP is bollocks, in my opinion. But what I would say about PSB is, actually, they do a very good job of it. And things like now, if you have a crash, they'll come and send someone down to plug in to get the data.
Do they do that?
Yeah, like, so, where was it? So, in 2021, Jack got crashed into the back of by True Love in the Supersport race, come out of nowhere. And before they let them take the bike out of the scrutiny bay, he went, I want to see the data to make sure his brakes worked.
Who did?
Well, whoever.
The race director.
Yeah.
Wanted to see. They sent someone down from Motec, plug into it and say,
Brake failure.
was it brake failure or whatever? And to be fair, True Love just went, I just fucking lost my head for a second, I made a mistake. Fair enough.
Right.
But it's good that they look at stuff like that, because if you've got an incompetent person or whatever, like an incompetent person working on the bike or a mechanical failure or something, it's good that they look at stuff like that. That's, I would say all of the things that are put in place are generally to, you know, if you crash and take somebody out, we talked about this when you're young kids. So when you're 11 and you start racing the British Championship, which you can basically do these days, do you really understand that if I make a ridiculous lunge here and crash and take him out, that I could kill him?
That's
Because that's the reality of it. So
That's
there's
the
got to be a deterrent to not be reckless.
and that's the unsolvable question, isn't it? You know, you want to create close racing, and then you've got to narrow in the route. It's that constant waving effect of like fix a mistake, make more of a problem. You know, it's an unsolvable issue, isn't it?
It's nature, isn't it? Like
That's exactly the nature of sport.
You want close racing, but then you've got it narky when it gets a bit people want someone who toes the line and doesn't say stupid things. Then you get, but then you want a personality.
Like a maverick.
Of course, that's what I mean. It's like, you know, you're
never going to win.
You are never ever going to win.
And the problem, it's like oh god, it's like you've almost like we're sitting here on the show, and it's almost like it's so easy to tear apart. I feel like we're doing the opposite here on Chasin the Racin. You know what I mean? We're talking about.
I don't feel like we got to a point on anything. We've just confused each other even more.
No, but that's the thing is, it's about trying to build up the sport. You know, it seems like a lot of people listening to this come, we're just slagging off riders. Far from it. We're just trying to
We're trying to
debate. 100%. It's a debate, and it's like we're trying to build a path.
Off one move, you can debate quite a lot, kind of.
Yeah, that's it.
It's funny enough because Alton Park last year threw up a lot of this sort of stuff. So
Jesus, the Hickman O'Halloran situation.
Like we were having that discussion, weren't we? But
hey, Dan Linfoot made that work move against Sealy.
Oh my god!
It was round the outside.
How did he not get like rider of the weekend?
How
good's Dan riding this year?
Yeah, very good.
Unreal, isn't it?
It's that hair transplant. They've obviously put something in there, haven't
Nobody gives him like the credit that he deserves.
But the hair,
he's one of the.
Do you know what?
His doctor.
I think he's still got lap records on 125s.
he can pedal a bike, mate.
Like from 2005 or something.
But do you know he went and did Suzuka as well? He got the invite to go and do Suzuka.
Did he really?
Yeah, and he rode a Yoshi prepared like a cert bike. It was like the sister bike to the cert bike. And I was commentating for Eurosport, and I was texting. I said, "How good is that bike?" He said, "Best bike I've ever ridden."
Really?
Well, I was gutted because he'd messaged me saying like, "There's a space."
Oh, was there?
Yeah, and he was like, "Can you do it?" I was like,
Oh, because Sayarin was injured. But they let him practice, and he'd done the practice earlier on in the week, and he said, I'm actually all right.
Probably went and collected his check, didn't he?
Do you think?
I think so.
I don't know, they signed him off medically. They said, you can't ride. He broke has he done a fractured
his pinky, yeah.
Something, yeah.
His nail.
So they wouldn't let him ride. So you were going to get Sayarin ride.
Sympathy about injuries off this kid, zero.
Yeah, no, so Dan had messaged us, and he was like, oh, there's this bike, and then he told me which it was, which was last year's Yoshi bike. So obviously I rode the bike last year. I know how good it is. And in endurance, there's such a big gap between the bikes. It's not like in BSB where we just said everything's super close. Like there's a massive difference in
factory versus like.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's like we're on a super bike and some of them are on CB 500s in comparison. You know what I mean? It's like it's so different. And not only that, the tyres are completely different. So I knew this is a proper factory Bridgestone shod thing.
Absolutely.
And I was like, and he sent me a picture of it. I'm like, oh yeah. And I'd actually asked Wilf at the start of the year. I said, like, I really want to look into endurance, but in order to make sure that I'm being like really true to the cause and not like getting distracted, I'll only do it on a Ducati, and I'll only do it on Pirellis, of which there's only one bike in the whole paddock. So I kind of narrowed my options down a little bit. So I thought, fuck it, it's a Suzuki on Bridgestone. I'll ask him anyway.
And the answer was no.
No, the answer is yes. To be fair to him, yeah,
right,
yeah. And then it just didn't work out. I got the willies at the last moment. I thought, no, I'm not doing myself justice.
Got the willies.
We're not heard that for a while. I haven't heard that.
I just figured I'm not like we're not having the best season anyway. I can't go swanning off to Japan and
I don't know. That could have been one of those where you go and you just fall back in love with riding bikes again because there would.
Right. Let's go back to that quick. I'm not in love with riding bikes. I love riding bikes.
I don't mean that.
It's just been a hard season.
It's a different environment. It's a different.
But it was
the teammate side of stuff.
But Dan finished fourth in that race.
Yeah, well, he actually finished fifth, and then Keogh's team got disqualified.
Yeah.
For the tank was like oversized.
That's something I want to ask. So the stock champions, are they not the champions?
No, Louis April Moto are champions.
Oh, did
because I think it was National Motors.
So National Motors won the championship, but then they had an oversized tank
by 300 mil.
Oof! Shut up, man.
I think it was 300 mil. But yeah,
someone had it out for them for 300 mil, didn't they?
Knock a dent in it.
Just have one of them.
I'm sort of surprised.
I am surprised no one punched the tank afterwards. If they didn't know.
Well, I see that all the time.
But I'm surprised they didn't know. They're all made bespoke tanks, so why would they take that risk? Why would you take the risk of being oversized? Make a difference?
It's over 24 hours probably, but
it's an FIM event.
Regardless,
the rules say it can only be 24 litres, isn't it? Yeah. So if you've got 24.3 litres...
Isn't it a shame, though, when something is done technically post... So someone's crowned a champion,
And then
afterwards, it's never the same, is it?
Yeah. Well, they didn't get the chance to go up and
on the podium in front of the people.
Celebrate.
It's just a press release after
after an endurance race.
Yeah, but they do look. They still class a technical knockout in the record books as a knockout, so it's still a championship.
Yeah, but when everyone's gone home and you go, yay.
Yeah, I agree, but still,
and someone had said, I think a few of the team who won the championship had gone. Yeah.
It was just the janitor like sweeping up the start-finish line.
The janitor.
Well done. Juanita.
Speaking of which, right, scratching itches and stuff, where you were being back on the bike, my man. Are you full-time bike racing now? What's going on? You've been at Paul Ricard with Marty Rouse there, and
yeah.
How was the bike with
I love
with
that.
a swing arm
Where do
for
I
a front
start?
end?
Where do I start?
So you're on the weirdest bike that there ever existed.
So I've wanted...
and that bike's super old, isn't it?
Yeah, they're actually very well
They did a thing of it on Instagram, and it was like in 1963, and it showed the same bike. I'm like, fucking poor Joe.
Britain's the same thing, isn't it? Like this is based on the
It's
same
similar.
technology.
So that team is
Technology.
sorry, hold on. Sorry for interrupting you for a split second. Imagine him as a
based on
doctor.
the same technology, isn't it?
Imagine him as a doctor, wouldn't it? Like,
That's technology, like it's an Amstrad compared to a fucking Apple Mac or whatever you've got now. I
I'm
don't
too
know.
old for Amstrad.
Exactly.
He's like, what's an
Technology.
Amstrad?
bloody glue.
You can't spell Amstrad.
No, not at all. I'm just saying, imagine you as a doctor. You're just walking in.
Well, it's
Mr.
terminal.
Smith, you're fucked. And shutting the door.
Oh,
You're stuck as a brick
savage,
through a
yeah.
window. I love it. So anyway, let's
Well, at
talk
least I'd
about...
get through the backlog, wouldn't
Mate, I love it. But anyway, let's talk about the Romat. Put a bit more poetry in what compared to that. You know what I'm saying? You're on the shittest bike on the grid. Let's
I
talk.
didn't say that. I'm just saying it's different.
So, I've wanted to go back to the endurance thing for a little while, but like not been maybe that proactive or that asked because I don't know, you question yourself, don't you? And then,
You went through a really tough time. Like
I just wasn't bothered about bikes or racing anymore. I was over it really, and I had not better things, more important things just for my family that was going on. That needed to be kind of the priority. And then there's a closed Facebook page that's for the paddock that basically all the team managers go on Facebook for updates and various things. And I just thought, fuck it, just swallow your pride and just put a post on there that you're up for riding at Paul Ricard if anyone needs you.
Why are you in that?
From 2021.
Yeah, I was just like, that's what I was wondering how you...
Yeah, 2021, because one of the lads had said it's worth going in there, because if there's any updates that happen with the championship, the calendar, or rules,
you'll get it for the commentary job.
You see everything's on there. But from 2021, when I was racing in it, that's when I was still in it. So I still I don't really go on Facebook, but I thought, fuck it. And I've messaged a few team bosses, including the ones in the Britain, and they're just not asked. They're not interested. And I guess, like you say, you're only as good as your last result. And if I haven't done anything for a couple of years, I'm of no interest to people. So I just thought, swallow your pride. The worst thing people are going to do is say we're not interested in you, don't you? And then these guys messaged and they said, we might be interested in you for a fourth rider if you're interested in riding for us. We're Team Metis. And I was like, Team Metis? Who the fuck are they? And then looked, it's the experimental bike, which I remember from 2021 because I always made a point of going looking at it with that weird front end. Then sort of did a bit of homework into them. They invited me to go to a test at Le Mans, which was last minute. And on the way down there, one of the riders, Gabriel Pons, who actually listens to this, who's French, but big fan of
Bonjour,
the pod.
Gabriel.
Bonjour, Gabriel.
Oh, smooth.
He dropped me a message and said,
Just making sure we...
Tell boy, eat your heart out over here.
Duck à l'orange.
Rodney.
he'll be grateful for that.
I'm making sure this is highbrow. Highbrow entertainment.
He messaged me on the way down.
Sorry, Joe.
No, you're all right. No, because I lose my train of thought. You do that, and I can't remember where I was. And he said it's like slightly different to ride, but you're most likely to crash it in pit lane because there's no lock on it. There's like zero lock. So you know when you do your endurance and you pull up to do a rider change, you can't do that last minute because at slow speeds it's just the most unmanoeuvrable thing in the world. But he said when you're riding it, it's like
cool,
a really, really nice thing to ride. And he said it just feels like a normal bike, and it does. You would think that is not going to turn, stop, or do anything. The chassis is unreal. You would ride it and you would just be grinning. You can brake so late and it doesn't pitch. So the front end is a rear shock out of a Fireblade. That's what the front suspension is, and then it's all linked through. They call it triangle steering system. So the front part of the frame comes off the exhaust
Sorry,
headers.
I'm just looking at Will going, I've heard this so many times now. Like,
I said, he asked me questions earlier on. I
He's
said,
like-
you're going to hear this again later on.
if Grace is really careful, he can hear the exit.
This boring bastard.
He was mouthing it at the same time.
mate,
He's thinking he's going to tell me this story on the way home as well.
mate, I'm only just, no, Carrie, I'm actually genuinely interested. It's just him in the background. Fuck. I've done a staircase for him.
So the front part of the frame comes off the exhaust ports.
Oh, that's fucking good, isn't it?
Stop interrupting, will you?
And then goes through like the front engine mount, and all that linkage then steers goes into the hook. They make everything from themselves off CNC, and they've now started casting their own wheels. I can't tell you the level. I ain't got time to go into the level, but
Suzuki engine in it.
Suzuki engine, and they've been around years. A guy called John Bertrand, who was a mad dentist. He was the one that came up with that design, that front end. He sadly passed away a couple of years ago, but they've been in endurance since, I think, 2005. McGuinness remembered who they were. He said, yeah, they've been at it a long time, good little team.
How would you make a bike like that eligible?
It goes in the experiment.
No, but I mean, how many bikes are in that class? Or was it just
Four, I
Usually,
think.
well,
That's incredible.
Paul Ricard, there was 3 of them.
Was there? There's a Ducati on different fuel.
No, the Ducati, my understanding is that Ducati is a V4S. So
So it's too big for
it doesn't go into the regulations of stock. So, but they'll let it run in the experimental. Right. Then there was an R1 that ran biofuel.
Oh, sorry, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and then there was
biofuel stuff's interesting.
Yeah.
It's good that they're doing that though, because like perfect place to actually design the engineering of a motorcycle is like 24-hour races.
Honestly, you wouldn't think it would work, but what they've done as a team, it's all volunteers. They graft their asses off. They go in nights and weekends, and I can't go into it because I haven't got time to be able to explain to you. But like, it's the essence of endurance racing as well. You know, like the team feeling. They made me feel so welcome. It was.
They've been around a long time, haven't they? Because and like well respected. Because I dropped. I'm going to get this wrong. Leon Haslam's electronics. He's a Spanish guy who works for Leon Haslam. Right? I forget his name.
The one Spaniard. The one Spaniard.
He does a lot of
Lewis.
Lewis. He does a lot of work in world endurance as well.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like BSB's Ricky
Martin.
Martin.
I gave him a lift to the airport basically after Alton, and he was chatting about world endurance. I was like, oh, I know this fucking lanky guy from Yorkshire that's riding this mad thing, and he's like, oh yeah, and he told us all about it.
I didn't know about me, but knew about the bike.
He knew about the bike and that, yeah.
Did you get to race? You didn't get to race.
Didn't get to race.
Nobody fell off.
No. So I went as the 4th rider, which some people think that you're there like on the bench, so they can they can bring you in at any point during the race.
Oh, you mean? Oh, sorry, I see what you mean.
It doesn't.
Once the race starts, that's it.
They start with the 3 riders that you put forward, and unless it changes from that beforehand, that's what they start.
So you can go home at that point, basically. You wouldn't.
Yeah, but the essence is to hang around. Like,
how many dark moments have you had while sitting on the bench, the pair of you? Have you thought, try to just kick him, put some.
Well, you can't once the race has started.
No. But when he comes in, oh, good. Like a pat on the shoulder. You know what I mean? Just get a real good. What a run!
Do you know what? My teammates were mega. It was exactly what I needed to want to go back racing.
Good.
So you enjoyed it.
It was fucking ace.
Good,
mate.
So how many laps did you do?
And that's the thing. So we did a Tuesday test.
Yeah.
Then Wednesday's a rest day, and then you've got qualifying Thursday, qualifying Friday, night practice Friday. Then they didn't do warm up. There's no more warm up. So I'm thinking, I'll probably do all right for a bit of track time. So they did 2 hours in the morning on the Tuesday. I got 10 minutes at the end.
Did you?
Did 2 hours.
Welcome to being the reserve rider.
2 hours in the afternoon, and I got 5 minutes in the end because it ran out of fuel. But I knew that, and to be honest with you, it was the best introduction for me to go back into getting back on a bike.
But you get your own.
I fancy a bit of that. Sounds great.
You get your own qualifying session, so you get your 20 minutes twice over.
But I had Gabby saying to me, by the way, you're on the race bike, so don't crash the race bike. Don't crash the race bike. I'm like,
oh, there is nothing. Why say that? What rider in the world goes?
Because he's right. Because if you knew the whole reason you've got a 4th rider is because there's that much effort goes into getting
Everything.
to that point, the last thing you need is the bike flicking to the moon. But
It's a professional. I'm not being funny, right? Take the money side of it out. They've been asked you to race a motorcycle, so that makes it professional in that sense. It's like reminding you not to cartwheel a motorcycle.
But
I'm glad I had reminded.
In their defence, though,
but
they've kind of
just my
employed
Sweden.
what they've kind of employed you to do is to not crash it and to be there as the backup.
if you
so I
go as
kind
the
of get
fourth
it.
man and you cartwheel a bike, you are a massive C.
100%. No, but I'm not being funny. But you know
You
that.
are a
It
massive
is
C.
okay,
the
okay,
it's the
lock
worst
on the
thing that you do.
sea.
And to be fair, they don't know me well enough to know that I'm feeling my way into it and that I'm not going to do anything daft. So I get the point. And do
And
you
we've
know
all
what?
heard the story of the cartwheeled Suzuki previously as well.
Have we?
Well, your one.
Oh, my one. Yeah. We don't need to talk about that.
We're talking about that. Remind me.
Well, he cartwheeled the Suzuki.
Yeah.
After
That's the end
4
of that.
laps.
See, there's
What,
that-
in the race?
No.
This was a few years ago. Wasn't
Oh, you Wally.
it? Yeah. Nothing left.
I can't
of
say
that.
anything. I crashed on a track
We've all
day on
been
someone
there,
else's
haven't we?
bike.
100%.
We've all been there. But I'd never ridden on Pirelli slicks either, which was a bit different for me to get used to. Because they're very different to Dunlops, which is what I've ridden on before. So that
Oh, you
was
were on
like
Pirelli slicks?
Yeah, we're on Pirelli slicks.
Oh, that would have felt mint.
Did the weird front end negate the change in tyres?
Do you know, like with a Dunlop front, if
Yeah.
you trail brake in and then you come off the brakes, like everyone loses the front trying to trail brake on a Dunlop. This, you could brake so late and trail more than you would think is... Like the guys had followed me for my 10-minute session, one of my teammates, Ludo, and he'd said, you need to just get off the brakes. Just get off the brakes and the bike will just keep turning. He's like, you're trying to ride it wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was mega.
So what were you using? SE1s or SE2?
Both SE1s and 2s. I think we did. I think I qualified on 2s. So I did it on a hard tyre as well.
Holy
But like my qualifying time was a 58.3 and my ideal was a 57.1. One of my other teammates qualified on a 57.5. The other was like a mid 56 and the other one was a high 55.
So you're well in the ballpark.
And I
Yeah,
did
so you weren't-
all
did
the
no
time.
time.
I did 18 laps in the whole time.
I know way.
Yeah. And I
Proper
was
holiday
there.
race.
So I've been packed up for 19 months, and the race pace was 57s, 58s,
Well, sorry, what did you do?
58,
You did a 58 what? 1.
58.1.
And they were doing 57 5s.
But in the race, they were doing 58s.
mate.
The odd 57, 58s, and I was riding the race bike on the race tyres.
So on a bike that you don't, like, with the greatest respect, don't really know how to ride.
No.
That shouldn't work.
Yeah, like,
And you know what it's like. You
Very
have,
good.
you have your winter and you come back after winter and you're a bit rusty, aren't
so
you?
the fastest thing you'd ridden at that point is you've
His
kind
wife.
of your van.
Well, no, I've done a couple of days on my Triumph, haven't I?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Ah,
But it's
Bennett,
not the same as riding when you're riding around at Bennett's instructing, lads on
Ooh.
road bikes. It's different to getting on
Yeah,
something and you've got Canoper and Carol Haneke coming
just-
up and you're like,
yeah.
what am I doing here?
Just letting you know, I was faster than Christian on the Bennis track day. On the
Yeah, he
little
was.
R7s.
Yeah.
Was he on an electric scooter or something?
No, do you know what
No,
it was?
I was on an R7. I
He
couldn't
went-
have been more underwhelmed in anything in all my life.
I thought it was
Where
great.
was that at Cadwell?
Yeah.
I did every lap in
I
every
feel-
He was
session.
yipping up when he came
I too
back.
feel a bit bad about this because there was a real nice fella there that lent us a bike, and he's
Yeah,
like,
they
"Oh
were
yeah, you
great,
can go
yeah.
out on this," because I didn't have a bike there to ride, so it was like,
Same.
so I kind of felt a bit bad that I wasn't doing my bit and going out with like the punters and stuff on because the Bennett's days are mega and stuff, and I was like, "Oh yeah," he said, "Do you want to use the R7?" Yeah, okay. I didn't realise bikes went that slowly.
They're all little.
Superbike ride, I love it.
But it's so just because I've not ridden a small bike ever,
Yeah.
so I just wasn't
before
used
you-
to it. I just
So
wasn't
he
ready
did
for
3
it.
laps in the wet, so I'm claiming that I was quicker than him. I was in the dry and I did every lap that you could possibly do.
Well, it's factually
You were
correct,
definitely
but-
quicker.
yeah.
Hold on, that works then, because if you're quicker than him, then I'm quicker than him, and I remember him sitting me up at Donington turn 1.
How do you work out you're quicker than me?
Croft,
I was on a CB500, he was on a fucking Super Twin. How does that work?
Mate, look at the timesheet.
The timesheet, yeah.
You there.
Bastard.
And then Joe Akroyd sits me up. So fundamentally, you are now the quickest. He's still the better looking one.
And the worst looking.
I forgot we'd been I'm thinking when have we ever been on track together? Yeah, on that. You were cheating. That's not.
I was on a
that's
suit. Yeah, of course it was.
not
But
like different
winning's
class.
winning. I was 300 mil oversized in the fuel tank as well. So I was
Disqualification.
But that,
Okay,
you know that experimental thing though.
Yeah.
I've got respect for trying it, but there's a reason
It's
why
experimental.
there's only one of them. You know, you'd think just put forks in it.
No,
Really?
No,
if it
because-
worked, it would win.
because
You're
if you
doing
went and
58s,
spent the time, you'd understand why. You'd understand
don't
the
get it.
passion that's involved.
See, I don't get I also don't understand. I'm maybe a bit simple for it, but I also don't understand like classic racing.
Oh, I love classic racing.
I just don't get it. There's a reason for progression.
Yeah, but you're looking at it from a... No, that's a good point,
No, but
actually, because you're looking at it through a different...
There is
Yeah.
a reason for it. Do you want to ride this really good bike? Or do you want to ride this bike
Yeah,
that's
but you're looking
nowhere
at-
near as good?
No, you're looking at it through a different lens, aren't you? 'Cause-
Someone else has said that. And I can't think who it was. That someone like.
It's true
I think
though.
Hutchie said that. I think Hutchie, why would I want to ride someone on cross-ply pieces of shit and drum brakes? What's the point?
Yeah,
like
I get,
we've
nah,
we've
I
come
get
a
the
long
point.
way.
I get your point, but I disagree. You're looking at it through a different lens, aren't you? Like when you go and see the guys who run them old Nortons and all their old bikes, and it's like it's part of you're just enjoying something. You're not riding it because it's the best performing thing in the world. Because if that was the case, everybody would only ride super bikes, wouldn't they? Or super stock bikes.
I don't know whether it'll ever happen. Whether you'll ever get the opportunity to ride that Metis, but if you got the chance to ride it, you would ride it and you would change your opinion immediately.
No. Sorry, my point on it is that
What's the goal? Like why are you doing it?
There's a reason why Honda, Yamaha, Ducati,
100%.
every other manufacturer doesn't have a weird front end.
Yeah.
And it's because it's not as good.
Because they're going to be different, isn't it?
So what I'm saying is you're always just like flogging this like dream of, I've come up with this idea, put the shock in the front.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
But it does work. It does work, and it works really well. But it's
If you put the Yacht squad of riders on that bike, would it win the race?
Oh, saucy.
You're not comparing apples with apples.
I am, because you're in the same race. That's what I mean.
Oh,
That's like
Yeah,
saying
but they're not
that,
doing it for that. You have to ask what's the goal of the team. Like, if the goal of the team is to turn it into a big production thing and have road bikes that go in that direction, that's one thing. But maybe they're just experimental and engineering is their interest.
Yeah,
And
I get that,
they're
but
trying
I
to
think
do
I
this
think I just
thing.
missed the point with things like that a little bit.
But I think as well, if you want,
It sounds like you do, Christian.
yeah, massively.
I think it is a bit
Because I
simple, but I
think
just
as well-
I don't understand why you would just. I'd be like, do you
This
know
is what it's like
Because
on a
if you
Sunday. It's
saw
like,
it-
why do you want to just go and ride for a coffee when you can ride flat out and just kill yourself off?
If you saw where those guys are putting that bike against the other stockers, and it's a stock Suzuki engine, which, I'll take the filter out. They're shit now. They're too slow. Generally, they were used because they were all right. Then it was like, well, they're maybe not quite got the edge, but they're a good, reliable engine. Ours didn't. It threw a rod at 22 hours. But, like, that's rare. They are a good, strong engine, but fuck, they're slow. So, like, next year, hopefully...
Are the 200 brake?
Nah.
Not even.
Nah. But they're massively struggling for funding. It needs some funding to go in there. But I understand that people maybe are going to go, oh, I don't really get the point, so how am I going to fund it? But if you knew the
No, I think it's got more
backstory-
chance of getting funding, to be fair, because it's different.
It
But
needs funding.
I'm saying it from a different point. I'm saying it from a pure like performance and what's it. If I was like running a squad, I'd be like, we need
You
a
wouldn't
set of
pick that
forks in
bike.
that.
Well, here's the thing. So I got to do...
So my question literally was: is it better than? Is the point of it is because they can make it better than a conventional motorbike?
There we are.
I
That's
think-
kind of. I think I went about it the
I
wrong way,
think so,
but that's
yes.
more of the thing.
No, you think yes?
Yes, the chassis is unreal. And you ask anyone who's ridden with us, so Tom Ward, I think, must have come across one of the other lads in the race, and we were texting afterwards, and he was like, does that thing handle well? Because it looks like it's on rails. And I said, it is unreal. And I had the pleasure of, in my qualifying, like, it was, there wasn't that many fourth riders. There was maybe 30 of us against the 50
Other ones, yeah.
So I never got a tow. I ended up on my own. And with about 2 laps to go at the end of my qualifying, James Westmoreland came past on the Vilteus Honda, which apparently they were running a stock engine for reliability. This thing comes fucking tearing ass past me. And I tucked in behind him, got like a little bit of a drag, but it's 1.8 kilometres the back straight at Port Ricard. It's so long. Have you done it?
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
You just sit there like, Jesus, well, you can have a rest. There's plenty of time, isn't there?
Something like
Waiting for it to
13
go boom.
seconds in top gear, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's
Just like,
mad.
Is it really?
yeah,
it's
which is,
mad.
and even 13 doesn't sound a lot, but actually, if you count it and think that's just singing,
Yeah.
Does it get to the limiter?
Yeah, it's just shy of a lot
well,
of them are
it
going
gets
through.
to a point where it won't pull. So
It just
It
sits
just sits there.
It
just
nulls
sits
off.
But it's like
Yeah.
a 200 mile an hour straight, basically. And at the end of the straight, there's a bridge, and you sit up, you go back 2 gears, and you tip in. So it's running
fast
at 75 mile an hour. Westy pulled a bit of a gap, And he sat up at the bridge. And I thought, I think I've been like a bit of a pussy here. I think I can just brake a little bit later. So I braked just after the bridge and I tipped in. And the lads have been saying as well, just because I think you've not been riding for a while, you're a bit hesitant getting on the gas. But at that speed and that high in the RPM, snap the throttle. It's not going to high side you. So I'm like,
He said.
Next episode, Joe Akroyd, Elton John wannabe, Rocket Man at Paul Ricard.
And so I did it. I just thought, yeah, you need to just get stuck in a little bit. And I've never closed so fast on a professional rider in my entire life. And I don't think I would have done that on a conventional bike.
Fair enough.
Oh.
It's unreal.
How annoyed would he be if he became first rider and you're still on the bench next year? After this little chat.
I'd deserve it.
No, don't be daft, man.
I'd deserve it.
Could you imagine us four doing an endurance race at that level?
Well, at that level.
No.
I'll be fourth rider because I've got a moustache now. So
it's fast, isn't it? How fast is that?
I can sit on the. I look French.
The level of endurance is massive.
Yeah.
Massive.
Is it unreal?
Yeah.
I don't think people fully comprehend how hard they go for the duration.
Mate, I had forgotten how, like,
I'd love to tick it off.
at a
It'd be
BSB
box
round.
ticket.
Well, we're soon going to see, aren't we? We've got Canoper turning up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's still slouchy.
You know, a BSB round, you come out the pits, don't you? And like your outlap is steady away. You just feel your way into it. Them boys come to the end of the 60k zone. They flick the limiter off and they just go. And that caught me out. I'd forgotten that.
I'm going to win the next Le Mans 24 hour because I learned one valuable thing that everyone forgets
It's a fair
about
statement.
winning. Mate, I'm telling you now, I'm going to win it, right? Very, very simple. When you red flag a race, when I've got his name wrong all night, Jonathan Ray, the Kawasaki team red flagged the race and still won it. I'm going to get to turn one quicker than anyone else and set fire to the motorcycle. In theory, I'm the first one to hole shot. That makes me, in turn, the single-hand winner of Le Mans 24 hours.
You are if there's a Honda because he'll just put you into the gravel at turn one. Like,
That was a big move, wasn't it?
Like Josh Hook did to Greg, yeah.
There we are.
Yeah.
Okay, right. I really, really want to get this out. Josh, you've started a new job, and that's why you're defending classic bikes to an inch of your life.
Well, that wasn't that actually wasn't the reason, but yeah, actually had a very embarrassing moment at work yesterday. So we're visiting. So I've started working for Norton. That's the new job. Absolutely loving it. It's going great. Went to visit one of our dealers, who's actually a Morgan and Lotus car. No, not Lotus. Morgan and Caterham car dealer. Williams Automobiles in Bristol, like the coolest place you've ever seen. Like lots of the dealers are like quite quirky, cool places like that. And they've got this amazing little showroom just for Nortons, like alongside all the other stuff. We're sat in there. My boss is there. These two guys are there. And he opens this classic racing magazine. That's called Classic Racer or something like that. And in there is an advert of these Renaissance super bikes that obviously Bennett's have at the thing, which I fell off.
I was going to say, you know them well, don't you?
Yeah.
Still paying him
and
off.
He's like,
he's the Boost Yamaha.
He literally, my boss
He owns it.
He opened the fuck's
You mend it, you fuck it, you buy it.
He literally opens this page up with a full page of his advert and he goes, "Oh, fuck me, them bikes are cool. That's a really good idea, isn't it?" He goes, "Yeah, I won't like to fall off on though. Could you imagine wrecking one of them? They look amazing." And I'm just like, I just couldn't stop laughing. He's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "I'll tell you later."
But you showed me on board.
I was like, "I fucking can't."
That
it was just
terrific, wasn't it?
It was so funny.
But I tell you what, we're going to go back to like, we're talking about doing a passion for a job, and then that almost goes out the window that you're not enjoying it. You've enjoyed, like, racing's your passion, bikes are your passion. You've been involved in it. Are you a little bit worried about jumping into this as a career?
No, not really, because it's totally different. So really, what actually it's probably going to mean is I might, I can almost justify not working at BSB anymore for a bit,
Right.
because I'd love to continue. I want to race again. Really, is my goal.
That's good.
I'd want to do something. So anyway, I want to do something, but the reality is it's really difficult to like stop racing. So for 20 seasons, I've either been racing or spannering, and it's really hard to not do it. But working for Norton now, it's making it easier to do that, and then go and concentrating on things I want to do, because we're not racing motorbikes, we're selling them essentially. Sorry, I had
No. You keep talking.
Like, look, it's in it. Everyone will know the story about Norton. If you don't, go and read about it online. It's a shit show from the start. But massively iconic brand. I absolutely love going to work. Like when you go to the factory, so they've got new ownership with TVS. It's a big Indian vehicle manufacturer, like the third largest. And they make loads of small capacity bikes. They've just put huge investment into it. They've got this amazing factory. And what I love about it the most is everything they do is built in the Solihull factory. So the frames, like, you know, the guy who polished the exhaust, his name's Andrew, like, and he has 3 kids. And you could walk around and see who welded that frame, like, and people go, is it really? And I'm like, yeah, it is. TVS, the people who own Norton, build 14,000 bikes a day. They could take our entire yearly quota of manufacturing to India and build it in the morning and send it back. Could you imagine how cost effective that would be? But they're not, and they've made a commitment to like doing it here. And you just walk into work and feel like you're just part of something really, really cool. And I absolutely love it. Like
Good, man.
I'm early doors still, and I absolutely love it. And it's just been involved, like stuff I've already done in like with me, like work life anyway. But now I'm just doing it about something that I'm really passionate about, and it's just cool to be around. You walk around and look at all the heritage bikes, and there's rotaries there, and there's pictures on the wall of bloody Jeff Duke and all these famous like people racing Nortons at the TT, and it's just a cool place to be. The bikes are absolutely gorgeous. There's only a few different models. There'll be new stuff coming. Like
I feel like I want to buy a Norton now. He's doing a really good job.
He is
with
in
it.
sales,
He's,
can you
he's
tell?
great.
No,
isn't
they're
it?
just mint. It just whether you buy it or not, I don't care.
I'm
but
sure we
PCP finance.
you can
How do I get one?
yeah. No, they're just
Sign me up.
they've got some like principles. What they don't want to build
Aye.
the fastest bikes in the world. They just build some really nice motorbikes, and
want
they're
to keep
not.
the brand.
It's like this is what we've built. Like this is cool. Do you want it? Like it's not they're not sort of perpetuating to like a.
That's a big word.
To like do you know what I mean? It's hard to explain.
Capitulating.
Come to the factory and have a look. You can come and have a look at it. You'll know what I mean. It's cool.
Do you reckon we'll be safe in that factory, lads?
I'm not safe out with Harrogate, to be honest.
Christian the Brick. They are. Get rid of the lightning. I'm going to call you Christian the Brick
As long
for
as
the
it's
window.
not a swimming pool, I'll be fine.
No, it's just a cool thing to see. There wasn't like the reason I took the job was almost like when would you have the opportunity to go and work directly for a manufacturer and live in the UK? So you could say Triumph, but they don't build really anything in the UK. They assemble a lot of stuff. The majority of it's built abroad, and I get it because like I bet you people who've got Triumph Thruxtons have never had any issues with it. They're like, so I know people who've bought Thruxtons, for example, gone to Hinckley for the tour because they do like a big tour there, and went, my bike's not built here. Like, what do you mean? Like, raging. And then the guy will go, have you had any issues with it? Well, no. Are you happy with this? Yeah. Well, it's not a bad thing, but it was just assembled essentially and Hinckley wasn't built. And I do think they do build some stuff there. They build the Daytona and a couple of bits and bobs. I'm not saying that, but...
Do you know the only thing that I'd say to that one, and it's not me defending Triumph, but at least Triumph is still British owned.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like as a British person, you go,
I'm not slagging them out.
we haven't got Land Rover anymore, have we? Because Tata bought it and they've got Jaguar and Bentley's, Bentley's owned by BMW, isn't it? And now I think it's brilliant that Norton are doing all that, but it is owned by an Indian company, and it's a shame that we as Brits couldn't. There was no one in Britain that said, well, there was someone that said, I'll do Norton.
Yeah, but he wasn't.
How did that
he wasn't British either, right? And he wrecked it. So, actually, if you look back through the history of Norton from a business perspective, it's had a checkered history, and it's great now that it's in the safest hands it's ever been in for 50, 60 years.
And it's nice that they're doing it in Britain. They're doing it in Britain. They're keeping it
that's
British.
great. And that wasn't a dig at Triumph, by the way.
No,
that's amazing.
No,
but like from a personal perspective, if you wanted to, so you could go and work for KTM or Yamaha, but you're just working for a distributor essentially because it's not the factory. Like you get to walk in and somewhere in a room over there, because I don't get to go in those rooms, they're designing something. Like that's cool. There's a war room somewhere. Someone's coming up with an idea for a bike, and you see bits and bobs in the factory, different bikes going around and stuff. We get to ride bikes and stuff. It's just really cool. Like my first week was then going to Goodwood, so I did a weekend at Goodwood. It was just like the coolest experience, and I thought I can't even get paid to do this. We do have to do some work, which is alien for me. But
it's good to hear that immediately you've got the passion for it, and the fact that as far as the motorcycle industry, I really like the idea that you can go down and see your bike, essentially your bike built. Yeah. Totally agree with the idea that there's a foreign owner But the fact that you can still go see your bike build, but I totally agree on the track. It's just good that we're still keeping these, because easily Triumph or Norton could have just been sank away and that's the end of it.
Yeah,
It's good that we've
100%,
still got that foothold
When
in
you
motorcycle racing.
look back through history at all the amazing British motorcycling brands that we had, and I just think I just feel a bit like my granddad would like this. That sounds ridiculous, but that's kind of what it's like. And I just love it. Yeah, it's great.
The one thing that Triumph have that no one else has is Ricky Carmichael single-handedly building motocross bikes.
I am so excited.
Mate, you talk about getting finance deals. I'll buy it's a 250. Are they building a 450? Are they building a 450? Are they building a 450? Oh my good God, that
I am so excited to see that come out.
Mate, I've been watching the footage. Oh my God, it
does look cool.
Mate, if I had the money, I'd put that in my living room.
Ducati are also bringing a motocross bike.
No, they're not.
Are they?
They're all just KTMs with different plastics on.
Oh, that's not. It's in the wrong,
Did I say that?
Wrong group.
I'm joking.
A Ducati bring one out?
Supposedly, yeah.
Really?
But I feel like we should start a rumour right now. Joe's going to sort us out with Ricky Carmichael. He's single-handedly going to get Ricky Carmichael on
He's
the
a
show.
hard man to get hold of.
Mate, I would. Look, there's Christine in the ultimate Ricky Carmichael.
no,
These two are going to scrap over each other to see which one could do it.
Yeah, I know.
That would be awesome.
You'll know more about him than I do, but he's a hard man to get hold of. But
He's Ricky Carmichael.
We'll keep pushing. We'll keep trying.
We'll keep pushing on that side of things. But I'm
Just everybody that watches the show, just get on Twitter and absolutely hammer
Just
him.
hammer him to get on air.
But the mad thing is, there won't be that many proper Ricky, he's not BSB rider, he's not a MotoGP rider, but
No, but
Ricky, it's
Chasin
the
the
GOAT.
Racin,
He is
Ricky.
the GOAT.
It's
Ricky fucking Carmichael,
He's
man.
got, for God's sake, he's got the GOAT farm. He's built his own supercross, motocross, full layouts and everything like that. And he's fat and he can pedal a bike.
He's lost a bit of timber, actually.
Mate, he was proper fat, and I like
was,
him.
yeah.
No, Jeremy McGrath, right? Ricky Carmichael were fat boys taking it. You know what I mean? Mate, they were proper fat lads.
Jeremy McGrath was my idol, and I met him at the Sheffield Supercross.
Right.
When first year he rode, when he switched to Yamaha, maybe.
No, that was.
And they say never meet your idol.
Oh no!
He
Don't do
stunk
this.
a BO.
Did he?
Yeah, I was devastated.
Oh, thank God for that. Fabrice can fix that. I thought it was going to
No,
be an
it's
absolute C.
devastating.
Was he
capital
sound
C.
with you, though? Was he sound with you?
Well, I didn't get that.
He stank.
Stunk that
He
bad.
just
I didn't-
stank.
I went. He was in his car. Like
What's
it was post race, to be fair. Like I let
So-
him off, but you have this like.
Listen to this kid. He's like giving him a
No,
hard time.
you've got this like.
But he was
it-
fat.
You're a fucking
When you're a
prima donna,
kid,
you,
when
aren't
you're a
you?
kid, you've got this like.
He smelt bad. and
When
I
you've
didn't
got an
like it.
idol, they can do nothing wrong, and it's almost a surprise that they can actually smell. That was the surprise.
That is a human. Yeah, I
I'm
know what
like,
you mean. Yeah.
Why does he smell? That can't be the real Jamie McGrath. Like
Was that your
the
biggest
real
idol?
Jamie McGrath doesn't smell.
Was that your biggest idol? Like you met? Like, you know what I mean? Was that your poster meet?
Of people that I've met.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah. Was that
Yeah,
your
I
biggest
reckon.
idol you met? Right. Have you met your biggest idol?
Yeah. Hopper.
Hopper. There we are.
Yeah.
That.
Well,
how did
no,
that go for you?
Hopper and McGuinness, to be fair.
There you
But
are.
yeah.
This is gonna sound really bad, but when I was younger racing,
He's the oldest, youngest man in motorcycle racing history. He's only 22.
I was a
I've
really
had 20
big fan
years
of
of
Alex
racing.
George.
No. Do you know who I like really, really looked up to as a racer? Stuart Easton.
Oh, good one.
And then
Love it.
racing
Love it.
against him in Supersport was like
That's amazing.
Well, I say against him, I was in the same fucking race. I wasn't anywhere near him, but it was like, whoa, yeah. And I remember in the end of was it 30 when he won the championship? Yeah, the year that he was riding for Martrain, he won the championship, and I finished second in the Supersport Cup race at Brands at the last round of the season in like a half wet, half dry race, and it was just like, I was like, whoa.
Shared the park for
Yeah, it was just cool. It was just like mint experience, yeah. But
Have you met your idol?
No, I remember the first signature I ever got. It was at the Harrogate bike show. And my dad said, look, you know when they hand out free posters, he says, go get his signature.
The Harrogate bike shop.
You know, remember the bike show? They had a classic bike show.
Was it Dan
In
Linfoot?
Harrogate.
I don't remember.
Honestly, no. Anyway, my granddad, before he had a stroke, he had a stroke 19 years ago. And he lost all his speech at the right hand side of his body. Anyway, and we used to go down. My dad used to take us for my birthday, and we used to go down to this Harrogate bike show. And my dad said, go get his signature. I've never asked for a right. Like, I've watched my dad race my entire life. There was no one else I looked up to. He says, go get his signature. So I grabbed the poster. I went, can I have his signature? And he grabbed it off us, signed it, and it was like he threw a used condom back in my face. Went, just get out my sight. And I remember going, that was rude. And I've never asked really for anyone's signature ever again.
Who was it?
I was going to say, was it?
Well, I've beat him in every race this year. It was Michael Rutter.
Really?
I was like that. I was like, yeah, this is class. This is like, absolutely class.
it is
I'll
mad,
never forget that. I will never ever forget that. And like, don't get us wrong. Like, and now I know Michael. Like, not like, you know what I mean. I know Michael. In no way would he have meant like that. You can imagine the amount of people there and everything like that. Just. So I really hope it was the Harrogate Bike Show. I remember being that small. I remember going, but my dad's like, get his signature.
I met Rossi
He didn't
at the Grand Prix in 2000 and I want to say 4. Yeah, 2004. Twice actually. The first time where people remember they did the Riders for Health days, and there was like he had a motorhome with the like barn doors on the thing, and it was open at the top, and he just sat at the motorhome door. And honest to God, we were there for fucking 2 hours, like just getting somewhere near to him, and he signed everyone's thing, so passing it through the motorhome window. You know yourself how much aggro that would be, like if you were doing that at a race weekend, and like it was mint, and he was sound. I didn't think he was a knob or anything like that. I thought he was great. I'm trying to think who else have you met who you think I wish I'd never met you.
Yeah, but
I used to love Carl Fogarty as well, and met him at a Whittam chat show thing, and he was unbelievable. He was mint. He was dead on.
That's good.
And I was like,
So is he better than you thought?
I was worried because I was a massive Carl Fogarty. Me uncle Mick used to ring the house and go, "Hello, it's Carl Fogarty here. Is your dad in?" And I'd be like, "Dad." I proper love Carl Fogarty, as most kids did, right?
I'm sorry. Every dad listening to the Chasin the Racin now is going, why didn't I not think of that? That is outstanding.
I just like, that's what they used to do. And then I didn't meet him until I was much older. And I was like,
you don't sound like Carl Fogarty on the phone.
That is just gonna
Did he try and pull an accent?
Lancastrian
Did he not?
I knew it was Uncle Mick, really, but
No, I didn't.
I would have been like 5 or something, just starting racing.
Mate,
and you're like, Well, that's what he used to do, yeah. So now I was worried about meeting him because I was like, oh no, what if I don't like him?
I've talked to you on the phone loads, Carl. It's nice to finally meet you.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
The joke about that now. Anyway.
I love your Uncle Mick, that's great.
That is class, isn't it? That is class. I feel like we've missed so much, but like you say, it's not apparently, in the MotoGP scene and everything like that, and it's...
We'll do another catch-up soon, won't we?
Well, you know what? I bloody want to, you know what I mean?
I enjoy it.
Like,
Yeah,
these
sorry,
are
we just
savage,
talked
you know what I mean?
shite, but
I
it's
tell you what, it's like herding bloody cat's mind, you know what I mean? It's like, I tell you what, the host of the episode is 100% Joe Akroyd, because it was between, you've cancelled, you've kidnapped Will,
bloody,
you know what I mean? You've committed above and beyond the board
It's hard
here.
work, innit? We've all got stuff to do, we're all working, we're all trying to... Families, it's just aggro, isn't it? You're all the length and breadth of the country, aren't you? I don't know where you're not doing so much.
Yeah. I was hoping to slag off electric cars there, but we'll leave that for the next one.
That's another 3 hours slagging.
I tell you what, because obviously Grace has set up there's no business that exists without a group chat, and I hate group chats, but if you could pull up your phones, lads, and have a look through some of these messages from the patrons. The patrons.
I'll try not to...
Why don't you read out Jess's?
I met Jess.
I tell you, okay, here we go. Thomas Clemens. Who do you think will be crowned the winner of BSB this year?
Heart says Glenn, head says Tommy. I'd like to see Glenn do it.
I genuinely don't know. I think there's very little to choose between them. Like, I know there's half a point as it stands right now.
But you're saying it's between them two?
Yeah, I can't really see anyone else. After the weekend, they pulled such a gap, really. As much as the points are going to ramp up, it's going to be a PBM bike that's going to take the championship.
Yeah. Which would be very fitting.
Which would be fitting. We haven't covered it, obviously, but yeah, Paul Bird passed away, so that's... Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the team, sort of composes itself from here on. Because at the moment, I think it's been all very quick, and there's been a lot of... Hype's not the right word, but there's been a lot of focus on the team, and just carrying on and riding that sort of emotion, I guess.
Yeah, distraction.
And it's always harder when it sort of, I don't know, subsides a little bit, and when the dust settles. So yeah, they've got a big job on their hands, but I think now it is literally between those two. But I can't choose between them. I think they've both, in their own way, performed superbly. It is hard to pick between them because they have got different strengths.
Yeah.
I would say Tommy's potentially riding a little bit better at the moment.
Yeah, I would agree
But
with
I
that.
think, as in who's outright quicker. But I think Glenn potentially has a little bit more racecraft at the moment.
It's going to be a good. It's get your
The new
tickets for. It's going
format's
to be hellish, isn't it?
interesting. That's like good to see how it's going to unfold, really, because I had forgotten about the fact that there was a lack of points up until now. Now it really matters to win. Like
So we're back to 25 points to win now. In the last round, it's 35 points to win.
Yeah, so it's gonna
big gaps.
It's gonna.
But I can't pick between them. But you're going.
I'd like to see Glenn win the championship, but as you rightly say, I think Tommy's got the edge at the minute.
Even though he's been like the last 3 rounds, he's lost points to him, so it's kind of a weird thing to choose.
Yeah, he had a blip.
The momentum's the other way.
Yeah,
But the last 2 rounds, Tommy's had difficult weekends and then pulled out a win at the last race.
Yeah, and you know
Which
yourself
is
how hot.
quite
if you
impressive.
Do you know what I think's mega? Is that
What?
no one can sit here and say, I think so-and-so's going to... How
Yeah.
good's that?
Yeah,
How
yeah,
good's that
totally
for a
agree.
championship?
Yeah.
It
Well,
goes
that
back
makes
to
sport,
what you
doesn't
said. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's mega.
Keeps-
Because I
keeps
agree with
people
you. I
watching.
wouldn't know... I wouldn't put any money on
but then, like,
one or the other.
I think it's a shame that no one else has sort of been able to sort of
go in the mix.
Yeah.
get in the mix.
You know,
Yeah.
mathematically,
You know, the-
16 riders can still do it, can't they?
Well, that's why
And-
they've done it. But
And
that's,
that wouldn't.
but
That
that is why
wouldn't
they've done it.
surprise me for one of those 16 to. It's BSB.
Yeah.
That's what.
It would surprise me for one of the other 16 to win it, but it wouldn't surprise me for one of the other ones to get really in the mix.
Yeah.
But it's a shame, I think, to see the likes of Kyle's not dropped off. That's not the right word, but he's not had the pace to fight for the win in the last few rounds.
Yeah. There's definitely been
Same
a
with
gap.
Jason. You know, like he's had that Alton thing again. It's not an Alton thing because he's done the triple there, but it's an Alton 2 where it's sort of fallen away from him for the 3rd year on the trot.
Yeah. But you don't know. You could come out swinging at Donington, couldn't you? You honestly don't
Yeah,
know.
but I think the points are too far the wrong way.
Yeah, but you don't know. Like, but the both PBM bikes could have issues. The point is,
You wouldn't
It's not
put it
over.
past the two of them to end up in the gravel together, would you?
How facts
I mean,
are looking at the moment, you're going to put
there's
on that.
plenty of interest in terms of are they getting on and aren't they getting on. I'm sure they're not. It doesn't really make a difference, does it? You're only teammates by name.
yeah, I would say they probably get on more than what people think.
All out war.
That was Tommy's quote, wasn't it?
It was all out war. It's going to, I tell you what, people are going to tune in and have a right.
Actually, I'm saying that statement based on knowledge from Friday. I don't know if I would say it's the
Might
same
change
now.
it
That might have changed, yeah. Yeah, we went for a walk Friday night and I thought, yeah, that.
Sorry, for a total different thing. Like a lad called Gary Proctor is talking about one of his mates who marshals. He didn't actually mention the bloke's name, but he's been 40 years of marshalling at Donington Park at the Craner Curves. 40 years, he hasn't missed a single round of World Superbikes, BSB. Absolutely, he's not missed a single round of it. Even to the point when he was saying celebrating, Stuart Higgs went down and delivered a cake for him.
No way.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Now,
that's very
you know
cool,
what's you know what's annoying? Gary, cheers, mate, for dropping us a message on Instagram there. But you haven't mentioned your mate's name. And there is no other name bar Stuart Higgs in that.
Yeah.
Like,
Get your mate's name
mate,
over and tell him to
that's
come
it.
and
Like,
find
so
you for
there's a marshal out there, 40 years of dedicating to marshalling, and there's
At
no
Craners.
marshal
Yeah,
at
but we
Craners.
can't give them the credit because we don't know who you are. But
So Gary, your
Marshall
mate,
of 40 years, thank you.
And he wouldn't
I
have been
know,
an easy
right.
40 years if he's been at Craner. He'd have been busy.
my God, he'd be fit as in. My
Over
God.
the years.
So has anyone got any more questions? I'm glad. I don't know why that
I forgot
popped
to
in
do
my
what
head.
the thing was.
I think it's probably a good time to mention about, because we're going to Donington, just some of the stuff that Bennett's have got going on there. So
Oh, very
there's been
smoothly done. I like it.
There's been some really, really, and I'm saying this as a bike fan actually, to be honest. So there's been some really good stuff that they've done this year. Like at Thruxton, they had like a pit perch on the inside of a church, which is like unheard of to get there. And then they have things like some rounds have a garage and a pit perch, but at the last 2 rounds of the season, so Donington and Brands, they're going to have a garage experience, so you can go and stand in the garage and see pit lane and experience all that, which is very, very good. And also the pit perch as well, so you can actually stand on pit wall, which if you've been to a World Superbike or MotoGP or any other event, it's unheard of to get that sort of access. The other really cool thing as well, which I think is absolutely unreal, and that you would have loved to have done this years ago, is you can get the opportunity to hand a trophy out. So depending on the class, they don't know until the day, but the opportunity to hand trophies out is, I just think, really cool. It's very unique. You wouldn't get that anywhere else.
How good was that at all?
Mate,
Yeah.
no, talk about it. Go for it, please. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was class.
It was Chrissy's little niece was able to hand out the Superbike trophies, which was to
Amazing. It was class.
Was it Glenn, Kyle, and
Lee Jackson.
Lee, yeah.
And then
Which was just, you could see her face. She just made up, wasn't she? It was, yeah. And I think Kyle had said, you know, your Uncle Chrissy would be really proud.
Yeah,
which
you know
was,
what I mean. That's,
I think I need to
that's this championship, this sport delivers class.
Such a class, yeah.
It does, you know what I mean? And people do give a shit about it, and it's just those moments. I think that's
just
why we do it, you know what I mean?
You know, people don't forget about Chrissy. So I think
And never, mate, wait.
keep the memory alive.
Wait, I'm not being, you know, didn't really want to do it, but next weekend, it's been a year.
Yeah.
And you think, that's just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know, in like for the legacy of Chrissy having moved on, there was a group chat that started up in order to try and do something to honour his memory at Brands Hatch from the last round last year. That group chat, I don't think I've ever mentioned this before on the pod, and I probably haven't even mentioned it to the family, to be fair, so I don't even know if they know what's happened because of it. But that group chat was with most of the BSB riders in the British Superbike class, in the Superbikes. And then that group chat continued, and then it continued in the vein where we started talking to each other and actually talking about safety and things that we might want to bring up, and that now has become an actual thing. So that group chat is and always will be called. It's called Chrissy Tribute, and it will always remain that. We've said that that's how it will always remain.
Brilliant.
But basically, now we have almost a riders' forum,
federation, almost.
Yeah, where we can. Okay, there's lots of other stupid stuff on there, but if we do need to talk about something, and if we do need to come together, it happens in there.
Couldn't get any more Chrissy, could you?
No, could you?
Pretty amazing, isn't it?
Mate,
That's him to a T. That's mega.
he was never ever scared to say his mind. You know, he stood behind every word, and the fact that that's still going is.
Well, and it will keep going. Obviously, the riders will change year on year, but that will be will be the group chat that will, you know, help improve things for not just in safety, but in terms of the championship or anything we want to. But not only that, it actually got a group of riders that don't necessarily like each other
talking.
Yeah. And actually,
so even if it's nothing to do with anything else, then every now and again there's a bit of crack. And yes, I don't even know if I've ever mentioned that before. But
that's mate.
Well, we didn't know about
I was aware of that chat because I've seen it sat next to like Jack and whatnot, but didn't realise it was born out of that.
Yeah,
that's very cool. Yeah, I didn't know that. Very cool.
So But I mean, to lighten the tone, there's a lot of other funny stuff on there as well.
Yeah. So there's obviously like a lot of the patrons and stuff are Bennett's customers and that as well. So please take advantage of those things. And I've seen a few of the guys at the earlier Donington round. Met a few of the fans of the pod in there and stuff, and it's really cool. And we just encourage you to go and have a look at it. The garage tour, there's bikes on display, ones that have fell off as well.
Oh, class! Right, well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna thank you so much to Aaron, James, Maggie, Liam, but your mate Timu.
To you.
You're literally all right, lads. Hope you're all well. Still here despite getting called all the names under the sun. Loving the names, by the way. What a fella. Good man. Joe, fancy a go at the F900s anytime soon?
Yeah, I'd have a do it.
And then we got loving the pods, keep up the great work, and more importantly, Grace Rouse. You know what I mean? That we wouldn't be here without Grace, and it's just this. No one loves us, lads. That's fact. It's all for Grace. You know what I mean? Every message is Grace, great work. You know, you're herding a bunch of twat straight off the bat.
She's got the hardest job.
She
it's
has,
like herding kittens, isn't it?
Without a doubt.
She's getting a bit feisty, though, isn't she? She's a bit feisty.
Can you blame her? Can you blame her? You know what I mean? Well, it's us we're dealing with you.
Did you see me duck? I thought I was getting a fucking
mate. I'm glad. Why do you think you sit there? I'm in the court. I've got time to duck, dive, and weave here. You know what I mean? Straight off the bat.
She means business these days, doesn't she?
100%. And then it's like, mate,
which is loose on the road now.
Yeah.
Oh, good God.
Congratulations.
Oh no, but
absolutely, yeah.
she's
So
got
your
one of them
insurance has
tracker.
gone up.
But
She's got a black box. She's got the
got-
black box
aye,
in there.
She's
hasn't
like
she?
tracks or like harsh brake and everything like that. Now her sister Katie has dropped the bairn off here and gone off in a car, and I'm thinking this is going to end up.
Grace
with
is like rolled off because she's like, don't be braking aggressively in the car.
Insurance has gone up double.
Grace has gone from 17 to 71 within a heartbeat. Don't you? It's just great to sit back and watch. You know what I mean? 100% of them.
Like, what would you have done when you were 17 and you had to have a black box in your car? I wouldn't
Shite,
have drove. Like.
All the fun is just gone out
You
of
have
life.
to be in the
innit?
house
Right.
by 11 o'clock at night and stuff
Rubbish.
like that.
Shut up,
Yes,
man.
No, you
Yeah,
don't.
Yeah, you do.
I wonder what the stats of
curfews
teenage
for driving.
pregnancy's gone to. No.
What's that got to do with the black box?
Christian, Jesus
Anyway,
Christ.
What am I missing?
Well, if you've got to be out, if you've got to be in for 11 o'clock, like...
Oh, okay,
yeah.
sorry.
You're not doing any lay-by
No
bullying, are you?
backseat job.
Why,
There's
is
no
it?
backseat jobbing.
Well, is there a time limit on it?
Well, no, but you...
That'd be done well before 11. I don't see the problem. As
Yeah, but you're not going to do it in broad daylight, are you? In the middle of the car park.
long as
Christian
it's
does.
winter, you're all right.
He does on his OnlyFans account.
Things that only come out in the winter months.
Talking of winter months, we've got some torches
Oh,
available.
God.
The merch.
Don't forget the merch.
No,
Perfect.
let me
That's
just
why I did that. That's why I did that.
Quickly. Let's quickly just blare through this. We've got the new hats are out. We've got a class bottle opener.
Caps are coming tomorrow as well.
Caps are coming tomorrow, but more importantly, who would like to deliver this little number? Marty Rouse has put his hand in his pocket and put this into it. You know what I mean? So this hasn't come out the podcast.
Let's have a look at this hat.
So you have a look at the hat, but I just feel like if we could almost hit the I tell you what, Will, do us a
Will,
favour,
switch
mate.
that
Right,
light
hold on,
off,
wait,
right.
for
Which camera can you do it on?
Well, who would like the
do it
honour?
here because that's right there. So see if
Yeah.
you can.
who would Christian's going to do the honours. So for the audio listeners, wait, before we go, turn the light off, right. So you can, if you can see that, let me audio do this. So Marty Rouse has purchased torches, for the modern man,
Out of his
to
own
get
pocket,
out of his own pocket to invest in the company, and it's a case of he's gone through many a tiring moment looking for the keyhole, and he's obviously always feeling festive, and he's decided to buy these Christmas special gingerbread.
On the torch, there's baubles, gingerbread men.
A bit of holly.
Christmas trees.
There's a bit of holly on there, isn't there?
So if you ever stranded on a beach somewhere and you use a Chasin the Racin line, make sure
It's
it's
actually a
festive.
pretty cool little thing, but
It is class, but
basically, if you buy a hat or a cap
You
or a
get
bottle
free
opener,
time.
Christmas comes free.
yeah, you can have that. This bottle opener actually holds your phone as well, doesn't it?
I said about that, yeah.
Oh yeah,
I tell you what, single-handedly, we are never going to ever get. Marty Rouse is going to
think
kick us all
that's
off his
quite cool.
drive.
Does it do it that way?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
you see.
See, physics wasn't my strong suit, was it?
That's pretty cool.
That's actually a cool thing, that, isn't it? So if you're an alcoholic and you want to watch Netflix on the train, perfect.
Buy one of these bottle openers. Buy Chasin the Racin bottle opener. Perfectly sold, that.
I quite like that. It's cool.
Could you tell? Did you like that?
I love it how Marty's going to be the first person to listen to this. He actually listens to audio files before they all go out. We've talked about lay-by bulling, and now we're having to go at his lights. So we'll never be allowed back on the family drive ever again.
You could have
Period.
Not after
100%.
11, obviously.
These are actually very cool. Oh, yeah.
Oh well, there goes the pod. We've had some good memories. But I feel like there's anything we have bowled over.
Yeah, we missed all the big headlines.
We've missed everything, but it doesn't matter. We've missed it all.
We'll get there.
But like you say, we've almost passed that. But we do. I would like to do these more often. And this is how the pod.
There'll
was
be now
built,
to
you know
talk
what
about in winter, so we can
Yeah.
talk about all the shit we were supposed to
Should we
talk
just
about
fire
in
out a
winter.
list
man.
of things that we're going to talk about and then get people to vote on what they want to hear the most, and the next time we'll pick it up, or we could do a bit of send some sort of thing out to the Patreon.
What were we going to talk about?
Well,
I forgot my notepad.
Yeah,
Johnny Ray
yeah.
going to Patty Yamaha.
So the World Superbike moves, you've
Yeah.
got Top Rack and Johnny moving, Scott Reddin to Bonovo, all of those things. So World Superbike movement, number one.
There we are.
BSB movement, there's a few things. By the
Yeah.
next
A lot
time,
of things.
there'll be a lot of things happening there.
But the good thing is, it's like you say, we can always have catch-ups. I'd like to remind everyone yet again, we're pirate radio. We're not governed by anyone. We can do,
Yeah. Tell us what you
within
want to hear.
reason.
Like if you,
No, exactly.
that'd
That's
be
the thing.
cool.
You know what I mean? I on a selfish note, I really enjoy this. You know what I mean? There's no pressure or anything like that. It's just proper slavering on cracking. It's like even Will. I know he's a hostage.
Yeah.
But even he agrees with that. You know what I mean? It's like that.
I'm worried about that duct tape damage it's going to do when we untape him. to be honest with you.
I'm not being a part of this.
Did you
anyway.
lose the key for the handcuff?
There is that.
He'll know how to pick it, don't worry.
But
To be fair though, like on the subject of a bit of gossip and that, I'm like one of those proper mothers at BSB that when something I'll hear a bit of gossip, I'm like round trying to find out like with me cup of tea, like trying to figure out what's going on and that. So I like to hear a bit of that. So if anyone has any specific topics they would like to hear on, put it in the comments and then we'll go and fish it out.
100%. There we go.
Sound.
Christian's
But
like, Christian's like, keep the fuck away from me, you.
Christian's just captured that torch because he just can bring Christmas and festivities whenever he wants.
His son Toby,
It's just
like, you know what I
happiness
mean?
in a torch, isn't it?
Brilliant.
Happiness in it. That is sold right there. Just cap that, round it off. That is mint. I tell you what though, if that's the only one that's a Christmas one, we're going to look like such like, you know what I mean? Everyone else there, I would love a Christmas special gun. I've got Halloween here. What's going on here?
The lucky dip.
Like the lucky dip of festive spirit. But
I can't believe I haven't nailed into these biscuits a few more.
mate,
This was unreal. It's had one of these. It was
before I do like the signing off element,
didn't see the top.
can you please do your joke?
My joke.
What do you mean? Well, don't look at
Oh,
me
yeah, I
with
was
that
gonna
blank
do it right.
expression, you dozy. But
Well, no, I didn't. I've not seen a penguin for a while. So, why did the penguin? This is on for those that are just listening.
oh, don't ruin it. This is your joke.
This is my joke.
And there's a bowl of biscuits.
There's a bowl of biscuits and there's a penguin in there. So,
Mini glass.
we were going to use the seal bar, which is the Aldi equivalent, but they couldn't afford jokes, so that's no good.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
I've never seen that before. That's excellent.
Why did the penguin make a fish pun? Just for the halibut.
We knew what was coming, and that's still. It's infused. We got to love
Just
it.
tickled by that in his Christmas torch.
Which was the one that had the song? Was it the club or the penguin?
The what?
If you like a
Colour
lot
the
of
chocolate on your biscuit. Join the club with the club one, yeah. Sam. I knew I'd heard that before. It's been annoying us that for an hour.
This has gone downhill.
Do you not remember that?
Mate, nah.
Oh.
I'm well
He's
out
too
of that
young.
side of. Nah. But is there anything we're gonna bother the fact that Chris is a snitch?
No, you do your housekeeping. You do your housekeeping.
No, it's okay. Like I think there's been a lot going on. Obviously, we touched on base on Birdie's passing, and 4 months is a long time, and it's a very, very dangerous like sport. We all know this. We all we love the sport regardless in that sense. But there's I feel like we're not doing them justice even mentioning the names on that side of things, and it's a case of we're even going back to the 700, and there was a horrible incident. There's been inquests and everything's been not resolved's the right word. You know what I mean? It's been brought to attention. It's been dealt with in that side of things. But we had Liam Clark, who was the marshal in the incident. He lost his life sadly, and we had Alan Connor, Northern Irish lad who's been racing for years and years and years. And then we move on to the Manx Grand Prix element, which was Gary Vines. And I remember first time I went to Spa, and Gary Vines was a 2-stroke man through and through. And
How nice was his 250?
Oh mate, he could pedal. I mean, he was actually one of the pioneers of Ugly & Co. He was one of their first sponsored riders. Really brought it on, and Gary was a proper lad who just kept himself. I didn't know him well enough, but I knew enough about his character in that sense.
Yeah.
I couldn't. A lot of people, but then mates are a different league up. And I think that's a fair thing to say. And but Gary was always out to help other people. He was that was a shock because that was first night of practice, and it's all. And then we at the Herbertsons, especially in the North East element, we lost a good family friend, Ian Bainbridge, who was raced classic Nortons. He's raced against my dad from the beginning. I've been brought up with Ian in the paddock and know the family incredibly well, and it just shows that it doesn't matter what. If you're trying to win a race or at the back, we're all there to go racing for the same reason. And, we all know the risks element, but it's been absolutely crazy. But I know I'm really sorry to bring that down, but I feel like we have to bring them to the forefront, especially going in
absolutely
100%. And I think, going into, this is coming out on Sunday, leading Donington, we talked about, going into that, but that's why we're all here. We're here to have a good time and press forward and go into Donington Park And go for it. And I think you should just start winning the championship from now, Christian. I think sandbagging a little bit too long. As far as the championship points concerned, you know what I mean?
Very late.
But you always good to say, like, he's leaving it for brands last race, like, full on, giving it the flick, coming over the line.
I don't even remember the last race. He'd be like, yeah, sign me up.
That's it, 100%. But, like, have you got any more riding planned for this year? I feel like with the end of the year, sorry, I'm kind of really bringing this down, but we've got 2 rounds left.
Not for me, no.
No more riding, happy days. But we're going to try and get you out on a bike soon.
I have got a couple of plans, maybe one next week, but it hasn't been confirmed yet. But I'm really trying to do that sport bike class next year. I would love to do that.
Just getting your ducks in a row.
Yeah, like it's
great.
It's a new class, isn't it? I just think it'd be really good. There's not an age limit on it, so I have heard a rumor that McGuinness might ride a Honda Hornet converter.
They're bringing
thing.
out but it's not a twins class, is it? It's like there's a cap.
It's a twins. Yeah, it's 95 horsepower. But apparently, I have heard that the TT rules will follow suit in years to come, not too many years. Because the thing for me is I'd absolutely love to take a couple of road races off. And if you could go and ride the twin in BSB and then do the twin on, do a couple of road races on the same bike, I just think that's the safest way of doing it, really.
We'll probably end up going down another rabbit hole for 20 minutes here, but what's a super bike support class thing?
Pathway class.
Pathway, can someone, is that just on a Honda? What's all that about?
No, it's not just on a Honda. It's a way more to get teams more super stock teams involved in Superbike. So it's not a full Superbike rules. It's like a standard engine. It's
a bit like the Evo class used to be.
It's basically a stocker, but with Motec on it. So you're on the same electronics. And there are other things. I think you can put maybe a swing arm in it and brakes for sure.
No swing arm.
No swing arm. Brakes for sure.
Definitely. I think brakes are mandatory.
Brakes for sure.
And you're not allowed the expensive fuel tank. A couple of other, basically the big expensive chassis parts
you can't have,
but the electronics you can have. Yeah, it's a budget superbike basically, but on controlled electronics. It's a really good way to bring some teams. Yeah, it's called Pathway for a reason. Yeah, some top end super stock teams that want to bring riders up.
Yeah, but that must be police. So in essence, like a stock team suddenly going, let's build one of these bikes. Can they enter, or is it an invite thing, or is it?
No, like anyone, like
not anyone. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? You're not going to be wanting
They're trying to sort of bolster the entries a little bit and try and get teams that maybe aren't able to make the jump completely, make the jump a bit easier.
It's got to be police, because you don't want to, without sounding like, you don't want a lad building a bike, hopping on, and then becoming a back market. You know what I mean?
There's a prestige to the class.
Prestige,
so you're not gonna you've got to be of a level, but that will be the case anyway. I think the point is, if you look at I know the R1 a bit, so let's use the R1. The only real thing that's the same is the engine, the majority of the engine, which has been it's been changed, and the airbox. Like everything else, the wheels are different, the frame's amended, the swinging arm's different. All the electronics are different. The subframe's different. The fairings are different.
Brakes.
So nothing from a superstock bike transfers over to that. So for a superstock team to jump, it's a huge investment in machinery. You might as well be changing manufacturer.
Yeah.
To build a superbike. So it's as much as the teams more than anything. It's a pathway to superbike, not only for riders but for teams. And I think it's a really good idea. It's fair to say the rules aren't actually finalised yet. Is that my understanding? So,
I think they're pretty much there, aren't they? They were testing them on at Cadwell, or Honda. They had Honda one built. Sorry, Alton. I don't know if I'm missing the point again, but I'm not overly sure about the reasoning why, if you were a team, that you'd want to do it.
Yeah.
Just because
you're not going to win.
So this is my sort of thought process. So say you are, let's just take the current leader. So you're Dan Linfoot on your.
But he actually made a comment in his interview, didn't he? That it's not. Am I right in thinking it's not something that he wants to do?
I don't know, but
Dan's not.
But let's just take. Okay, so let's maybe not Dan, but let's take Dan's team.
Situation.
So that situation, you're leading stock. It costs you whatever it costs you to do stock. You've got all that thing. You're getting the publicity from winning or leading stock and being at the front in every race. You're then going to make potentially a worse bike because you go into Motec, and it's not that Motec's worse, it's just that you're taking all the electronics away. So it's going to cost you more to have a worse bike because you're throwing. You have to buy the electronics
off it.
You're taking the good bits off it. You then have to throw more tyres at it because you're doing more sessions. You need more staff because you're doing more sessions, and then you're almost certainly going to finish at the back because you're on a lesser bike.
So you get no publicity.
So
you don't get on the TV.
I don't massively see the point. So I don't know if I'm missing it, and I don't want to miss it, but I don't quite get it.
Yeah,
Well, I think
I don't quite get the incentive. Is what I don't quite
I
get.
think that's going to be the same for the riders, isn't it? You're going to get a lot of riders that just want to say, "I'm racing in Superbike."
Well,
I'm not sure. Do you know what I think might be cool? And this is just me throwing some out there. It'd be pretty cool if every team had to have like one full Superbike and maybe one pathway, and the pathway had to be a rider that's never raced in Superbike before, who's never scored more than 50 points, or there's a cap to how many points you've scored before, so it almost is a pathway.
It'll be a bit like
so it creates a thing.
Yeah, a bit like what it used to be with Evo, I think. And I think it's a good idea to bring younger riders into Superbike and people who wouldn't have necessarily got the chance before. But I also think it's a worry because a super stock bike with slicks on, it's going to be easier to ride than your Superbike.
No, I think it's more easy when, like I said, when they take the electronics away, it doesn't make too much difference. It's the electronics that make all the difference. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. They're trying to do something which is cool.
Yeah.
Because at the moment costs are massive. So
I
think they're just trying to rein it back in, and I'm pretty sure in a few years' time that will actually just become the rules. To be fair,
one of my teammates is in French Superbike with Kenny Foray, Alan Tesher, Mike D'Amelio, and I said, "What is the rules in French Superbike?" And it's more a stock.
Yeah,
French Superbike is more stock.
Italian Championship is pretty much what this pathway is.
All the other national championships are pretty much like that. Yeah. It'd be good for road riders maybe who want to do a bit because they can have like a hybrid Superbike, maybe. So not the full chassis, but Superbike sort of regulations and rules to use a road racing and ride it on short circuits.
BSB's got a lot of new classes coming, a lot of classes leaving.
Yeah, Stock 600, that's like a big... I mean, I think it's a positive. People are sort of saying, yeah, but then you run Super Sport or a Super Twin, it's sports bike, sorry. That sports bike class is a good class. It's a good idea for young riders to learn from older experienced riders. When we did 125 racing, you had veteran doers who knew what they were doing and you not having a clue, and you learn from them how to ride motorbikes. We haven't had that. Yeah, but we haven't had that in the smaller capacity classes for a long time. So 250 GP gone, 125 gone. The Moto 3 class, that changed, rightly so, for the British Talent Cup. I did one of the last rounds of the Moto 3 Championship in 2018, and I couldn't believe how like differently people rode them. Compared, like, no corner speed, like, all just totally different. They'd learn,
the new generation ones.
Yeah, they'd learn to ride four strokes, basically, and it really shocked me. Like, and yeah, I think that class would be very good for developing talent. If you had, like, Michael Rutter riding his R7, and you as a youngster riding around with that level of experience, you're going to learn some things.
We had this conversation about Cooper in the BMWs, didn't we? But I think it is good to have a yardstick rider in every class. Even in British Talent Cup, can you imagine if, okay, let's take out Scott Ogden and Josh Watley because they're current and riding, and too young to be because they're doing their own thing. But can you imagine if you put, let's say, and he is also still doing his own thing, but let's say if you put like John McPhee, who's the last sort of top rider who was in Moto 3 for us, as a yardstick in British Talent Cup, that'd be really interesting because then you'd understand, one, how talented your talent is.
Yeah.
But also, you'd bring the ones that maybe have a bit more talent to the fore even more.
Definitely.
Because if there's always something to chase, you always go further.
Yeah.
So it'd be. I think you should. I think it's good having a yardstick race. To be fair.
The other thing to mention about that class, sorry, just before we finish, is that it isn't a shit stock class.
No.
If you've not had a chance to look at them yet, the Rev to Race have built an R7. They're like going to be the official Yamaha thing, and the thing's got different yokes. It's got different bloody link. It's got different everything. It's like different dash, different electronics. It looks like a mini superbike. It's actually more trick than a super sport bike from a chassis perspective. And you're like, that thing looks unreal, and I want to ride one. It just looks unreal. And I think having a low capacity thing is in line with what the UK bike market's doing and everything. It's great. It's very good. I think it'll be a really big plus to the championship.
Love it. Lots to talk about on the next catch-up.
100%.
Absolutely fantastic. Well, I'll tell you what, lads, let's tidy up shop and lock the door. Massive thanks to all our patrons, Colchester Kawasaki, who have always been a part of this, and, of course, Bennett's. And then let's round it off with you gorgeous bunch of twats. Thank you very much, lads.
Cheers, bye.
It's been emotional.
Cheers. Let that hostage out.
Catch us later.
Chasin the Racin, powered by Colchester Kawasaki, part of the Global Moto Group. We supply new Aprilia, Moto Guzzi, Vespa, Royal Enfield, Kawasaki, Sim, Mutt and Benelli motorcycles.